Good morning, Tradeify Nation, and welcome to another edition of Tradeify TV. It is Thursday, May 29th, 2025. It is 60 minutes before the New York opening bell, which means it's time to get you ready for the trading day. So joining me, as always, of course, is one of my fellow hosts, Miriam. So Miriam, actually yesterday, as soon as the show was done, I went to bed, I went to sleep, I slept for like 20 hours, and I just got up 10 minutes ago. So what I missed?
Wow. Yeah, you missed a lot. There's a lot that's happened today. Welcome, guys. Good morning. My name is Miriam. Like Nick's, or not Nick. Matt said today, but Nick is actually not here.
I'm not sure which one of us should be more insulted that you
You
confused
know,
the two of us. That's we're
Nick's
gonna have a
be watching this,
conversation with
like,
Nick on Monday about that.
First of all, can I talk about how we're both wearing the complete opposite shirt color that we were yesterday?
I was gonna comment on that, but I'm glad you picked up on it.
We didn't plan this, by the way. We did not plan this. But Nick is not going to be joining us today. But it's just, we do have a special guest for you guys today as well. We're going to get into that later. But we did have such a major thing that happened last night. We had quite a few things that happened last night, right? We had earnings come out, specifically NVIDIA earnings, right? We're going to kind of get into that a little bit. But as you guys probably woke up and saw that the markets popped quite a bit last night, and this is kind of something that we were talking about yesterday on the stream, but we definitely there's a lot to be talked about today. So
absolutely. So let's just kind of get into the headline. So it was basically the U.S. Court of International Trade ruled on Wednesday night that Trump overstepped his authority when he imposed, and the word reciprocal in this CNBC article is in quotation marks, but reciprocal tariffs. The court ordered that the challenged tariffs order be vacated. So I actually have a decent background in civics, government, and all that. I think I'm one of the few people my age that paid attention during all those things. So I have a kind of an understanding of some of this stuff, but I've never heard of the U.S. Court of International Trade, and it's a U.S. court, which means it's subject to the Supreme Court. I think the end result of this seems to be what we've been seeing pretty consistently throughout the beginning of President Trump's second term here, is that the Supreme Court's probably going to throw this out at some point and allow him to put these tariffs into place. I know there's all these talks about Congress this or who can do this, who can do that. Honestly, you can get down in the weeds on that, and you'd be better off just banging your head against a cement wall for an hour. I think it'd be the same result. You wouldn't be any smarter, and you'd have a headache. That's basically what searching this stuff out will do to you. But at the same time, at least for the immediate future, and my guess the Supreme Court takes this up pretty quick, although I don't know if there's an appeals court that is above that. But at least for the immediate future, then these reciprocal tariffs, which I'm assuming they're referring to the ones that the president put in place to sort of retaliate for the tariffs that he originally put into place. Again, headache, blah. But right now, again, the markets love the lack of tariffs, and with at least some of them off the table for the immediate future, whether that's 24 hours or 24 days, or maybe Trump just decides, you know what, we're just gonna focus on some of these original ones. The markets at least reacted pretty well. If we pull up just a 5-minute chart here, I'll pull up my chart, and I'm gonna really have to scrunch this up, guys. So we also had NVIDIA earnings yesterday, and NVIDIA, I wouldn't say blew the water out, but they exceeded earnings, and that seemed to set this initial pop. And then the secondary was followed up by that tariff news.
Yeah, and I just want to go over the numbers real quick if anyone's interested in this. They didn't disappoint, that's for sure. They came back with a hot 44.1 billion in revenue. That's up 69% year over year. The data center segment also pulled in 39 billion because apparently AI is still got a chokehold on the market. But they also kind of took a hit, right, from the U.S. export restrictions to China. About 4.5 billion inventory charge on unsold H20 chips, and they're expecting up to 8 billion in lost sales next quarter. So, but the market obviously didn't flinch by this. The stock itself popped, 5% after hours. So, moral of the story, when you're the plug for AI chips, Wall Street will definitely still love you. So.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and Nvidia sort of puts a bow on earnings season. Miriam, they seem to want to do their own thing and go a few weeks out from the other tech names: Apple, Tesla, Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, we can kind of put earnings in the rear view mirror for at least the next few weeks until we move into kind of mid to late July. So that's kind of one thing off the table. Now we can focus on the next Fed meeting, which I believe is in a few weeks. But right now, the sole focus, I think, for at least the next 2 weeks in the markets is going to be tariffs.
Mhm.
I'm waiting on my news feed for, they usually put Trump's schedule in there. I think his first press availability, whether he's signing something or whatever, anything where the press can ask him questions, I think that's going to be a very, very important thing today. And of course, there's always the threat of a tweet or a truth or whatever they call them over there. At any point. So guys, watch your position sizes today. Have your news feed up at any given point and be ready to exit any position if new information comes to light, right? You're in a trade. If anytime new information comes out in the trade, whether it's technical, fundamental, or whatever, you have to reevaluate. Doesn't mean you're automatically out, but it means you have to reevaluate that. Now, to be fair, and Miriam, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. Getting caught in some sort of news event, whether it's overnight or whatever. I'm 11 years into this. You're several years into this as well. It seems those tend to even out over time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And you start to kind of realize, like, maybe these are the sort of days that I shouldn't trade, right? You don't want to be caught in an earnings call. I mean, that's happened to me before, where I've traded futures during a big earnings session, and it wasn't fun because you get these wicks, it stops you out, ends up going your direction, and it's just not a fun position to be in. So analyze your trades, understand what your risks are, and calculate for possible slippage in that scenario. And obviously, just don't trade, right? Just don't trade if that's going to be a position that's going to wipe you out. So always be careful.
So I noticed some person on our behind the scenes team here posted a poll in the chat. Morning energy, matcha or coffee? And I'm proud to say coffee is running away and hiding with this one. So I was going to make some homemade matcha later, Miriam. I'm going to cut my lawn later. I'll just collect clippings, and I think I can make a pretty competitive matcha at that point.
The fact that I almost fell for that, it said, wait, you can make homemade matcha. Yeah, see, you guys just haven't tried good matcha, okay? You can't go to Starbucks and order the matcha there. That is not matcha. I don't know what that is, but just get real premium ceremony grade matcha, and I swear your life will change. That's all I'm going to say.
I'll just take your word for it. I'm not sure where I'd get ceremonial grade matcha in the St. Louis metropolitan area, but I'll get back to you on that. There's a few pretentious coffee shops downtown. There's probably some there.
Yeah, there you go. Or just Amazon. You can get it on Amazon too. That works.
So taking a look at the 5-minute chart here, Miriam. So once we opened yesterday for what is technically considered today's session, and then the tariff news came out, we spiked basically about 300 points within the course of about an hour. Now we've come in a little bit. It's very interesting, and maybe we can throw up we'll wait maybe for the actual New York Open. We can throw up a fib retracement if people are interested in that. And we've got about a 50% retracement off this move, and we are below VWAP, and we below VWAP for the last hour. I'm really curious on this open, and this will definitely be an open. I think I wait out at least the first 15 minutes, but boy, I think it could be a day. I'll say this, and y'all can blame me if we go barcoding it after the open, but boy, this could be a day with some wild swings.
Oh yeah. We definitely made a massive move in the pre-market and the Asian session. And this kind of it was something we talked about yesterday, though, right? We talked about how, once we kind of break out of this zone that we were mentioning, we would be seeing some decent upside, which is what we got, right? Yesterday, if we look at yesterday, let me pull up NASDAQ here. yesterday we were talking about this supply zone right here, and I kind of left it here just for visual purposes. But I had mentioned, if we move out of this area, we can see decent upside. Now, the next level here that I would be looking at on the Nasdaq isn't until this 22,000 area, 22,000, about 200, 170. That's the next supply zone that I see. So we definitely still have some room to the upside. However, when we do make a massive move like this, I do want to stay cautious because, now that we're entering the New York session in less than an hour here, we could potentially see some pullback. And I've been saying this, right? I've been saying this that we have room to the downside as well. But I think the biggest thing is going to be that we actually hold this zone, right? We are kind of inching towards it. Yesterday we made this high of, let's see, the 21,560 area. Or, actually, let's see. Yesterday's New York sessions high was about the 529 area, right? And then in the aftermarket, we kind of resumed higher. But I would want to see this area hold. This is kind of like the key zone that I look at when I'm looking at the next day to trade, right? So I definitely want to see that bulls have conviction above this 21,570 area. Now, if we do hold this area, again, I think we do have room towards the upside, but I think it's just something that the markets still have to digest. Now, if we do break this zone, though, we have room to the downside. Now, I have this 4-hour trend line here that you can see on my chart on the Nasdaq. Now, if we do break this zone, we could enter this trend line, possibly bounce, but I would expect if volume comes in and markets don't really like, I don't know, whatever news comes out, that we could possibly find some more downside to at least yesterday's low. We're sitting at 21,325 and then possibly testing this trend line, but we do have room to the downside for sure. So just going to be cautious today. I think it's one of those days where when we do get big moves in the market, you kind of want to let the markets digest that.
All right. So we do have a couple of questions in the chat there. So y'all drink water. Yes, that's what this is here. Not quite as large as Nick's spot. I see Nick is with us in the chat this morning. Good morning, Nick.
What's up,
no doubt representing the white tea gang today. I don't think I've ever literally seen him, and we spent 3 days together in Miami for our photo shoots and all that. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything other than a white t-shirt.
Even the nice button-up tee was white.
Yeah, it was.
There was no other colors, so it'd be a fun day to actually see Nick in a different color. Come on.
All right. So the question for you there, Miriam, can you talk about the demand areas and supply areas you have on your chart?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way I do my demand zones and supply zones, I'm not going to get too into, the actual technical analysis of this, but I look for areas of liquidity, right? I look for areas where we had some consolidation, really small consolidation, and then a massive move. So for example, when I go to the 4-hour chart here, if I zoom back all the way to the left, I kind of want to show you where I got this demand zone at the top here, because these are different levels, like intraday chart zones. So for example, this zone right here is a 3-hour zone. So when I go back here, you can see this area right here, this body was kind of like a basing body, right? And then we had this massive move to the downside. So what I see here is a level of essentially, buyers and sellers kind of fighting, right? They're fighting over what the price should be. Now, this is an area that we could come back to and retest. So that's why I look for these massive moves in liquidity, and I say, okay, this is a supply zone right here. This is an area where there were clear sellers here, right? So because they pushed the price down significantly. So when I look at this, I look at these demand and supply zones with that sort of perspective of, all right, where was some consolidation and then a massive move from there. And then that's kind of how I identify my levels. So that was way back. I mean, this zone right here was way back in February, right? Yeah, February 21st is when we had that. So, I mean, not too long ago, obviously a couple months ago, but we might try to re-enter this level here. So if we come back to this zone, the higher the time frame, the zone for me is going to be a stronger level. So this was a 3-hour zone that I had, which means if we do come back and retest this area, we might see an initial rejection of it. So that's kind of how I look at my zones in a very, very quick way.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys. I mean, just taking a look here at the 4 hour chart, because we were zoning in on the 5 minute there. On the 4 hour chart, we identified this level a couple days ago, this 550 level that we've been rejecting, right? And so obviously we went strong above that. This 550 area, guys, kind of 540 to 550. I don't know that it's a line so much as kind of a very small zone within the NQ there. If we break below that and hold, I think we could see probably three-month lows on deck coming up in the coming weeks, or maybe even days. We could really accelerate to the downside if whatever this news is, or if this news is negated in some way. If again, if the Supreme Court jumps in and overrules the Court of Trade, or Trump puts whatever the case may be. If we shrug off what was basically our strongest bullish breakout move in a couple of weeks, that could be really dangerous, I think, for the bulls. And I think the bears really could take control at that point. Now, we could also do as I like to call it, a break, retest, and go. We retest that prior level of support and take off from there. But usually break, retest, and go aren't like 300 points. Usually talking about 40 to 50 points in the NQ, or 10 to 12 handles in the ES. So the fact that I would say this is a little concerning if you're bullish going into the open, that so far we've strongly rejected the 21,800 level overnight, and now we're coming in quite a bit. This is I didn't expect to see this, Miriam, last night as I went to bed. This kind of caught me off guard as I sat down for sort of this 3 a.m. Onward move.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once the, we kind of opened, like I said, NVIDIA had some strong earnings. So the NASDAQ was pushing prior to that. But once we got this news about the tariffs, it really shot the market up. And I was actually, it's funny because I was looking at the Asian session. Asian session opens at 4 p.m. Pacific time here on the West Coast. So I was able to, look at that and kind of analyze these trades. And, it was crazy because I'm watching this move up, and I'm like, I got to get in on this. So I actually ended up taking this trade about a couple hundred points, but I was still shocked while I was in it because I'm sitting here like, what is happening? Why is the market moving so quickly? So, we just get there was literally no pullback. It was absolutely no pullback, just massive rocket ship up. And, you can see this on the 4-hour chart. There was literally no red candle. So, it was something that when I was thinking about this for our stream today, I'm like, this is going to be an interesting, Thursday, because it's whenever we get these massive moves, you have to be a little bit more on the side, right? When it comes to these big moves, because you're like, how do I trade this the next day? You want to know how the market's going to digest this going into the New York session, which is why, for me, I'm going to wait and make sure that, we are actually going to hold these highs. We do, like I said, have room to this upside, but it's hard for me right now as we're kind of retracing back this candle about 50% of the candle, retracing back to it. But if we actually get this breakdown and take out this whole move, I'm not very convinced that bulls are going to be, strong enough to actually pull it back. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what we get here. We do have some strong levels below us, but it's one of those where it could just essentially just retrace, and we don't really see any massive move. So we'll see.
The good news is, I think I say this, and y'all can blame me if I'm completely wrong on this, but the good news is, based on how far we've pulled off the highs, but yet we still have basically 150 points or so till we get to where we were yesterday. I don't think we're going to stay here. I don't think we're going to just hover at the, between 600 and 700. I think we're going to get a nice move, whether we're back to new short-term highs, or we're breaking back down to areas in the chart that we were yesterday. So 15-minute orbs, 30-minute orbs, 60-minute orb, going to be very, very important today to determine direction. I'm going to be looking at those. I'm also going to be looking at VWAP above or below. And I would like to see us test VWAP in the opening 30, to be honest. And I think there could potentially be a trade either way, either a breakout above VWAP towards the +1 standard deviation, or a rejection of VWAP and a break back down towards the -1 standard deviation. So I think the good news is, I think it's going to give us some trades. We just got to kind of figure out where that's going to be. And guys, we're already looking at a 5-minute ATR on the NQ of 25. That's good, but that's a wee bit high 40 minutes before the New York Open. So just be careful. If we get up over 40, that's usually kind of an area where I begin to reduce my position size. So I'll be looking, as opposed to the 2 to 3 minis or 20 to 30 micros, I'll be looking to cut that down by about 30%. And just keep, because I have to, at that point, when ATRs are that high, you have to give your trades room. If you're setting stops 8 to 10 handles in the NQ, guys, market maker can sneeze and the NQ moves 10 handles. So you gotta, yes, you have to keep your stops as tight as possible, but you also have to give your trades, especially index trades, especially NQ trades, as we kindly refer to the NQ around here as a monkey on meth. But that's you have to give it room. You have to give it room. Otherwise, you're just going to sit and get stopped out of trades and get death by 1,000 paper cuts. You can sit there saying, "Well, I keep my losses to $200 or $300." Well, that's great. If you're taking 4 out of 5 of those and your winner's only 500, you're sitting there with some nasty red on the day. So just just kind of keep that in mind. So we in about 20 to 25 minutes, Miriam, we have a guest today. Why don't you tell the viewers about it?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to mention we do have a poll right now in the chat here. We want to know if you guys are bullish or bearish, right? Or sideways. We might not even do anything today. So go ahead and answer that poll. But we do also have a guest, like Matt said, we have Brian Stonks coming on today in about, I want to say, less than 30 minutes. Is that right? I think so. Yeah, less than 30 minutes. So we're going to have Brian Stonks come in today. He's going to talk about his trade setups. He's going to talk about who he is, first of all, if you guys don't know him. And just like we have been doing with the past guests, we want you guys to ask him questions. We want to know what you guys have for him, what you want to know about him. He has some great stories. So we're going to be asking him about his journey. He's a very successful trader. So you definitely don't want to miss this.
Absolutely. And as always, there may be some goodies or something that pop up during that time. So I would highly recommend everyone stick around through that entire interview. And also, I do want to acknowledge, for those that were not here yesterday, we did in fact hit 10,000 subs on our YouTube page, and I could not be happier, and thank everybody for that. I would just say, guys, you guys have had some really kind comments in the chat, and the chat has been 98% amazing over the course of these first few shows. Tell somebody about this show. Get into a trading, one of your trading discords, or just on social media, and just help us get this message out. Because again, as I always say, we're never shy about telling you this is very difficult. We're not going to sit here and bullshit and do like position sizes and accounts that are just unrealistic for you guys. So make sure you get that word out there and help us kind of spread the news, as it were, as far as Tradeify TV and what we're trying to accomplish here. But for those that have subbed in the past week or so since we launched, which we did launch exactly 1 week ago, thank you so much. Highly appreciate you. Oh, keep getting those, Austin, keep getting that stuff up. I bet you if we get to 25, 30,000 subscribers, we'll convince Brett to do something very, very special for that. But we got to keep going. 10,000 is nice. Very, very nice. Nowhere near where we want to be. We're coming from the top slot here, guys. That's our goal, and our team is united on that, but we can't do it without you. So make sure you're here every day. Make sure you're spreading the word on this. And make sure, especially when we have a guest, guys, if you missed either the last couple of days, if you missed anything with Rake, if you missed anything with Rips, get back and watch those interviews. I think one of the things our show's pretty unique in, compared to some of the alternatives you have out there, is that we talk about a lot, guys, that the day after that show, the week after that show is still going to be very, very important, and it's still going to be as close to evergreen as a show like this can be when we're live and we're trading the markets. So go back, watch any trades that we make, and hear us talk through them. Make sure you check out any of the interviews we have with the guests. And at some point, we're going to be doing some clips from shows and help you find some things as well. But thank you so much to everyone who's helped us get to 10K. We can't wait 25 is next. Let's go, guys.
Oh yeah, let's go. And make sure to hit that like button as well. Like Matt said, I mean, sharing is caring, right? So whenever you guys can share this stream with a friend, share it with a colleague, a coworker, a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, it really helps us. And it helps us in identifying like what it is that you guys want to hear about, right? Like definitely tweet us. We can put our ads here in the chat, but let us know what you guys want to hear. If it's something more related to psychology, which by the way, we do have our psychology coach coming on next week. If you guys haven't known, now you know. So we will be getting into some psychology sessions. You guys want to talk more about our strategies, let us know. I mean, it's something that we are, open ears for. So definitely, definitely hit that like though. We want to get that like up because we have a guest today. So we gotta show some love for the guests.
Also,
So
if we could get a TTV in the chat for anyone who is tuning in for the very, very first time, I'd appreciate just put a TTV in the chat so we can shout you out a little bit. We are now 34 minutes approximately from the New York Open. We're about 20 minutes away from our guest for the day. So any questions that you guys may have as we kind of watch this early morning market action, make sure to drop them in the chat. Yeah, Nick TTV, this is Nick's first time watching the show. You just watch it from a different angle usually. Milos, trades by Johnny, Elon, welcome. Andres, welcome. Conrad, welcome. Tio, welcome. Guys, we really appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like this stream. Help us get our message out there. All right, so I do want to just really quickly do a kind of a 4-hour look at some of the other instruments that we look at. The ES. ES is so the ES, Miriam, is actually the 4-hour structure here is slightly different than what we see on the NQ. Whereas last night we got a clear breakout in the NQ with this news. We did push a little bit above where we, sort of a short-term high, as it were, but we really didn't get that much higher, and we rejected hard off 6,000. We talked about 6,000 yesterday, Miriam, and the fact that we really couldn't hold above it. I don't know. I'm sitting here saying, how can you not be bullish after a day like today? But boy, there's I wouldn't say there's any red lights. There's definitely some yellow lights. So we either need to push down the accelerator and get through it, or slow down.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is funny that we literally just talked about this yesterday. How once we break out of this supply zone, if we can go to my chart real quick, my chart is looking pretty colorful here, but we have this on ES. I'm trying to squeeze NASDAQ out of the way so you guys can really see this. This is the 4-hour chart on ES, and we talked about the supply zone yesterday. Once we broke out of it, look where we rejected. Right? We went right back into this 4-hour supply zone, right at the 6,000 level that I had mentioned to you guys that, we would see a magnet to, and we did, right? So what's left, right? What's next? On ES specifically, I would be looking, similar thing as NASDAQ. I want to see that we are actually going to hold this next level. Now, the only reason I have this zone, this bottom zone here still highlighted is just for visual purposes. It's actually an invalid zone now, so I'm actually going to be taking it off my charts. But I would want to see, that we do hold this movement that we got from yesterday. Now that 6,000 mark, if you haven't marked it on your charts already, I would put it on your charts if you do trade ES. Like I said, psychological level, but again, as you can see, we did reject it as well. So I would want to see that we actually can break out of this 4-hour zone above us for bulls to even have conviction. But again, same thing as NASDAQ. Now we're kind of retracing back a little bit more than 50% of this move that we got in the overnight session. And next area here is we either break out or we break below. So I don't typically like trading within the previous day range, especially when we got a massive move like this. So I would like to see either a breakdown or a break up above. So this is kind of one of those days where, maybe no trades will be taken just because there's not much to take here. I really do want to see, you can obviously take scalps, and I'm a scalp trader myself. I like to trade on the 5-minute, on the 2-minute. And if I actually do move to the 5-minute, you can see we're still in this zone, obviously, but we also do have, and I've kind of mentioned this, I am a trend line trader here, and it doesn't take a technical eye to see this, but we are in this downtrend. So essentially, I would be looking for us to break out of this trend, move to the upside. VWAP is actually sitting up here. Actually, yeah, this is the 9-minute. VWAP is sitting up here, and I want to see that we can actually reach VWAP and break above for bulls to have conviction. So, but again, that 6,000 level, it's going to be a massive area that we want to make sure we're holding above of.
Absolutely. So if we go to a 4-hour chart here on the GC, this sort of two trend lines, sort of a big long-term pennant flag pattern, whatever you want to refer to it, has been forming. And we're now knocking on the top here. So potential short opportunities in gold, especially if the indexes really pick up at the open. For me, not only do I need to see this trend line broken to have kind of a short-term bullish in gold, but I need to see sort of the 3360 level broken, because what we have not done is make a series of higher highs. In fact, we've had lower highs starting back here, lower highs pretty much kind of across the board, as it were. And so for me, I need to see a higher high build above 3360 for me to be interested long. But again, if the index activity in the indexes picks up to the upside, we could be revisiting gold for a potential short trade leading into the late morning session. So the last one to take a look at this morning is kind of the one that's been a bit of a disappointment over the course of the past few sessions, has been oil. Oil's just kind of been chopping around. I traded oil quite a bit for a while, and sort of the last year or so, I've really kind of gotten away from it. The other thing that I always like looking at is the Russell, the RTY. And I will be honest, I don't trade this that often. But again, what does the Russell show? The Russell shows the market's appetite for risk. When when things are going really well, and some funds and managers and retail traders are saying, well, I just don't know how much more juice there is to squeeze out of Apple, as it were, or whatever. And but I'm bullish. I have an appetite for risk. That's when the small and the mid caps come into play. And the Russell's, of course, is the index for small and mid caps. The fact that we're kind of coming off short-term highs here, again, I'm just seeing a lot of conflicting information, Miriam. And I think the markets, obviously the New York session has yet to process all the news from yesterday between the NVIDIA earnings and the tariff news. And don't forget, everyone brings up the futures trading like basically almost 24 hours a day. And I get that. But keep in mind, there's so much in the futures market where it's the big boys hedging against their options positions, and zero DTE stuff comes into play at that point. The option market plays a big role in the futures market. And the option market doesn't trade outside of the New York hours, at least not yet. I would expect that to change in the next couple of years. So that's why we always say the first 10, 15 minutes are so important. Even if the futures market has had an opportunity to digest the news, we still need the options market to weigh in as well, which has a direct and big impact on the futures market as the day progresses. All right, so guys, we are 27 minutes from the open, and we'll be bringing on Brian Stonk here in a little bit. What are you seeing out there, Miriam?
Yeah, I mean, good point about the options market as well. It's something that, as a previous options trader, trading the SPX, right? SPX is Bay, as some people would say. So for me, I would watch ES a lot when I was trading SPX. And as you mentioned, I mean, a lot of options that aren't open, when futures are open. So, I mean, until the market actually opens. So a lot of these contracts, especially if someone, I sent out a tweet yesterday, like, who's swinging NVIDIA options, because either some people are getting paid or some people are getting squished. So those options are going to be moving in pretty volatile as people are either selling or trying to get out of their positions. So you really want to see, you want to wait for that to be digested as well. Obviously, NASDAQ NVIDIA is a big position in NASDAQ. So we're probably going to see NASDAQ move quite a bit here in the opening. Which is why, again, to your point, we do want to wait for that initial digestion of the news, because we did have a lot going on in the overnight session, in the pre-market. So we just want to be agile with this. We don't want to just like jump into something that looks appealing or looks exciting or juicy, but something that for me, I would be looking for is, again, on the NASDAQ, we are definitely in sync. That's one thing that I do like to look for in both futures. It feels like we're both futures are sitting in sync with each other. Again, I have NASDAQ here on the left and then ES on the right. We are in this downtrend. We do have similar trend lines. VWAP is sitting close to the top here. So what I would like to see in both futures is a continuation of this synchronicity, but also I want to see a break for bulls, right? If I'm bullish today, I want to see a break above this trend line. I want to see a retest of VWAP, but also I want to see us break above and hold. I think that for me, we have a lot of congestion for me sitting at the top. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a contrarian trader. I'm saying this because, we literally have on ES, we have this initial supply zone that we need to break above, the 6,000 level that we also need to break above. We have VWAP sitting here and a trend line. So for me, yes, you can take this for a quick scalp, right? But I do want to see that first initial 15-minute balance, see where buyers and sellers are really negotiating on price, and then mark out that level and then kind of go from there, right? Because there's always room to get like a quick scalp. If you really want to go for it, then that's your prerogative. But for me, I really want the A+ setups. So I'm going to be a little bit more biased to the downside today, and say that for me, the better setups look like they are on the downside, just due to my strategy, due to what I'm looking for, because essentially we could get this move up to VWAP, we could reject from there and then start moving back down to the downside. Obviously, if not, we hold VWAP, we shoot back up. I just want to see what the volume of the buyers and sellers is going to look like today, because we're kind of like just stuck in this zone. We're stuck in this middle of this overnight session, overnight move. So I'm going to be extra patient. I'm going to see where the 15-minute balance kind of develops and kind of go from there. And Matt, I know you trade on bigger time frames. So when you're looking at the 4-hour chart, is there anything that you're seeing there specifically, or do you go down to the 5-minute and kind of go from there?
Well, yeah, I'll develop a high level sort of thesis based on the 4-hour, and then I'll zone it down to the 5-minute. I used to do a lot of, and I will occasionally look at the 1 hour or the 15-minute, but basically, again, I found when I overcomplicate things like time frames, when I overcomplicate things like excess indicators on my charts and zones and all that, that's when I can get paralysis by analysis at that point, right? So I really try to zone in on just a few things. One of the best pieces of advice I got in my trading career was one of my mentors very early on in my career. She told me, use whatever technical indicators you want, use them consistently. There's too many people that are like, well, the 8, I know you use a 9 EMA, but it's very close to the T line, the trend line, the 8 EMA. And there's some people like, well, I use it for this particular thing. I use it for this. Use it consistently. If you're going to use something as a bullish bearish indicator, use it consistently across your charts, use it consistently across your instruments. And that's one of the things that tripped me up early on. That was a big turning point for me when I began using everything very, very consistently. Now, it doesn't mean, obviously we still look at a few things. We can get into situations where we have some conflicting signals coming out, and that's fine. Then we sit on the sidelines. But I am very concerned. You guys know I tend to be a little more bullish. I'm a little more trend as opposed to a contrarian like Nick and Miriam are. But yeah, this strong rejection. Honestly, based on the news last night, when I read, I said, "Oh, we're going to be pushing 22K by the time the market opens," and we're really not. In fact, we're really threatening to go back and test that 21.5 again, and that's something that I'm really concerned about as a little bit of a bull today. But you know what? Like I said, I think we're going to get some great movement today. I think we're going to have some opportunities. So I'm just looking forward to the open. So we guys, we have a quiz coming up in just a second. We have I think we're all loaded up for the quiz. So
We're
we can
shooting
go ahead.
you with some homework, guys. You
Yeah,
guys don't
yeah.
even know
It's
what we're doing.
early. We need to jumpstart your mind. So go ahead, guys. Daily quiz. What does a doji candle usually indicate? A, strong bullish signal. B, trend continuation. C, market indecision. Or D, hidden divergence. So we're going to give you about 60 seconds to answer that poll. I'm putting my my answer in there right now. Looks like so far a lot of you guys are getting this. Honestly, while we're doing this, Miriam, I'm going to ask you this. Where did you learn like your basic candlestick analysis from?
Oh, that's a great question. So I actually, and I'm gonna butcher this right now. I'm trying to find the book here. Oh my gosh, it was it was a Candlestick Bible, and I really like this book because it's the Candlestick Trading Bible, and you can find it on Amazon. It's like, I don't know, probably like $10 or something, but it really was something that helped me understand like the story of a candle, where buyers are sitting, where sellers are sitting, what a doji candle actually is and what it looks like. and I talk about this often, is like, it's so important to look at what the candlestick is telling you no matter what time frame you're on. We don't need all these fancy indicators to really teach us how to trade. We just really need to understand what the story of a candlestick is telling us. So absolutely recommend that book, or even just something that's going to teach you how to read a candlestick. And it was the Candlestick Trading Bible. Again, you can find it probably on Amazon, or just doing a quick Google search. But yeah, I think it's just super important to understand like where buyers and sellers are sitting, and understanding like what the candle itself is telling you. So I think our polls are,
Yeah,
you guys
let's get the answer up there, and let's make sure everyone. Yeah, so it is market indecision, and this is again doji's. Every candlestick signal it means something, but it especially means something in context of the candles around it and in context of the trend. So yeah, a doji in general is market indecision. It may just be a rest candle, and we may continue with the trend either up or down, or we may just need a little bit of a rest before a reversal at that point. So I learned my candlesticks from Steve Neeson. I'm putting his name in the chat right now, Nison. Guys, go on eBay. Anything you can get a hold of as far as his, a lot of his stuff's out of print, but he is the OG of candlesticks. It was him and a couple of his partners that went over to Japan. Gosh, I believe it was like in the 70s or 80s, and brought the candlesticks, which had been used in Japan in the rice markets for hundreds of years prior to being brought over here. And then the most important thing that at least they claim they did, and I tend to agree, is they integrated them with Western technical analysis, things like moving averages, things like ATR, RSI, all that good stuff. And for me, Miriam, it's not necessarily about the candlestick pattern, but it's also where does that occur? So I have some zones I watch, and again, they're on other platforms that I can't necessarily put up here, but like some of your support zones, your demand zones, I would imagine there's certain candlestick patterns, if they occur moving into those zones or within those zones, that you give a lot more weight to.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of something we talked about earlier, when there was someone in the chat that asked about how I find these zones. So, it was something that was really, really apparent in the story of a candlestick, right? Where we find these called basing candles, right? These are essentially areas of indecision, where buyers and sellers are trying to figure out what the best move is. And then when we get this massive move either to the downside or the upside, that's telling you that that area right there is a level that we might retest later on. So definitely tells you, what you need to look for, how to plan your trade, how to analyze the market from a technical aspect. And I'm not a big fundamental trader, but I've seen a lot of these moves come in. Do you put fundamentals into your trading often? Is
Well,
that something you look for?
I would love to just tell you I'm a pure technical trader, and in probably 70 to 80% of my career I have been. But again, you can't ignore the fundamentals right now. You can't ignore tariffs. You can't ignore what's going on. The fundamentals, pun intended, always trump the technicals, right? They just do. The technicals are based off the fundamentals. For somebody who's just starting off now, I would recommend having a basic understanding of the fundamentals. You don't need to get into. I remember when I first started trading, I was digging into earnings reports and listening to earnings, and I never really learned anything from that. But I will definitely say to have a basic understanding of the fundamentals, and B, especially know when they are, right? Know when, obviously, like non-farm NFP stuff is first Friday of every month, but just having a basic understanding of the earnings calendar, of the economic calendar, how things ebb and flow, is very important. You don't need a PhD level dive in all this crap, guys, but normally I'm never going to tell you to go to CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg, anything like that. But I have, especially this year, I will look at some basic financial news, and I'm not reading deep into it. I'm not interested in Jim Cramer's opinion on anything. All I'm interested in is what is going on, and more specifically than how the markets are reacting to it. So remember, with the markets, it's not just the reaction, it's the reaction to the reaction that we pay attention to. So we're seeing that play out in real time right now. The reaction to the reaction of the tariff news and NVIDIA earnings is that the initial upward move was overblown. So again, I'm really looking forward to the open. So well, I believe, guys, Miriam, I think our guest is ready. Why don't you intro him?
Absolutely. Are you guys ready for Brian Stonks? He is waiting in the back. Go
Let's
ahead and
get
show him some
Stonk in the
love.
chat, guys.
Punch that like button and let's get ready to bring him in. Brian, welcome to Tradeify TV. How are you?
Yo, hello. I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good, good. I know you were waiting in the background here, so we're excited to have you in here. I know chat is popping off right now. We are all excited. You know, we have a lot to get into today, and I know you probably been hearing in the background here our analysis, but we want to know who Brian Stonks is. We want to know who, like, tell the chat who you are, what you're coming in to do. You know, we're all excited to hear about you.
All right, let's do it. I'm a little nervous. This feels like high production. This feels like a show right now. But Brian Stonk is 23 years old. He was he basically was a university student, an engineer, going to college, and he wanted to trade as well. During COVID time, during when people were going delayed and stuff like that, I just picked up on trading. Everyone had free time in the world. All my friends picked up on trading. They didn't pursue it though. I pursued it. I was juggling both at the same time. So I was doing full-time classes as well as trying to figure out how to trade. And the first year was kind of messy. I was just running with penny stocks and all these other nonsense. But then it started picking up. So once the year 2, year 3, I was actually trying to trade consistently. And then there was a moment in my mind where I'm like, do I really want to continue school? Do I have the passion for it? And my friend basically told me, I remember this moment, he just told me you have to pick one or the other. You can always come back to school, but you really have to put it your all into one thing. And that's what I decided to do. So I basically took one gap year during my senior year of college. So I had 1 year left before I graduated. I took a gap year. I told the school I'm gonna try something out. That was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I think now. So I never looked back. So all my credits are gone now. So I can't even come back if I want to. But yeah, that's basically go all in. And now we're here. We've been here. I've been trading a lot of stuff. I've been trading everything basically. If you want to talk about trading, I love trading. I love talking about trading. I traded everything in the book, starting from EMAs and support and resistance, and just everything possible. And I kind of blending myself towards the ICT area with my style of using it. It's a big umbrella of ICT concepts, but I use something very unique to me, and I feel good about it. I feel consistent, and my progress shows it. My my performance shows it. So that's me right now, and that's what I'm doing. I think we're 5 years in the game right now. I heard you guys. I think I heard Matt said you're 11 years, and Miriam, you're also a few years in or 5 years in, so something like that. So everyone's been trading for so long, and it's been great to see.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, what you just said, you're 23 years old. That is, man, if I started when I was 23 years old, let me tell you, I might be in a different place right now, but it's so amazing to hear because it sounds like you started when you were what, 18, 17, trading?
Is that the math? Yeah, 18.
Did I math that correctly?
Yeah, 5 years. Basically,
this is great. We now have guests on the show that are young enough to be my kids. This is wonderful. Hey.
Yeah, on all social media, I just basically say I'm 14 because I feel like I have a baby face. That's what I'm trying to run with the joke before they do it to me. So everywhere else, on my taxes, I'm 23. On social media, I'm 14. That's why I call myself the prodigy for fun here.
So I got a question for you, Brian. So I was last night kind of perusing some of your socials, kind of looking at. So you had some unique commentary, and without bringing up any specific names of any places, there was there's been a rumble in the prop space over the last 48 hours. One place in particular, kind of shaking the ground a little bit. What do you make of everything that's going on there?
There's prop drama area, and there's Tradeify has been under a year right now. Has it been 9 months? I feel like Tradeify is the only one with no prop drama. It's been rising consistently, and you have other OGs. They're doing good, but they're having more stumbling blocks and hassle. And I guess as traders, you don't really want to see that. I feel like I'm already worried out. I'm a trader for all prop firms, and I'm worried in a way. I'm like, are we good? Are we okay? So that kind of feels like it's hitting my mental a little bit, just to see what the outlook of the future is. And there's some firms I'm 100% feel good about. There's others I'm like, let me see, I'm not sure about. It's been treating me good for years now, but the outlook is like a little bit like fickle. And with the regulations coming and everything else, it's been kind of like a wild road with prop firms lately.
How important, I mean, it's kind of a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I know we have a lot of people in here that are newer to kind of the prop space. How important is stability in terms of, you don't see a ton of rule changes. You don't hear a lot of whispers of payout denials and stuff. As a trader, and especially like you, somebody who's young, who's probably going to be in this game for a very long time, how important is stability and not changing things up every couple of months?
Yeah, like I feel like anything that kind of affects your mental and your trading edge just kind of can throw you off your game. And like when you're in the back of your mind, you're worried about like payout delays or payout denials or anything like that, that's gonna really mess you up, because you're like, I've been trading for so while on these accounts and I've been doing a lot of progress. You're not even certain if you're getting a payout. And there's a lot of reputable firms, but there's also firms that's like giving more fickle type of results. And yeah, like I said, like anything that really throws you off your game is something you don't want to do. You want to just practice good habits, and you want to choose the right firms too. Especially if you're just like tight on money, you want to make sure that firm you're sticking with is the right firm to be using, so it can pay you consistently and whatnot.
That's a good point. We have enough to worry about as traders without having to worry about any bullshit going on behind the scenes at the companies that we believe will be paying us out. Certainly hadn't been any problems here at Tradeify with that. So, Brian, we are now, let's see, where are we? We are now less than 10 minutes to the New York Open. First of all, let me ask you, do you trade outside of New York hours at all, or you try to stay within the main liquidity?
Yeah, so I've been kind of, throughout my years of trading, I've been trading like every single market. I think like year 1, 2, I just try to trade every single moment I can. Like it was like New York, Asia, London. I think as I progress, I've been slowly cutting back. So like less screen time. So like, I feel like it's like more, less is more in a way in like my mindset. So fun fact to me, like also is like I've been trading like New York AM for like basically like, the majority of my trading for like 3 to 4 years. This year and like I think part of last year, so like a year and a half now, like basically like 25% of my trading I've been cutting off New York AM for the majority and just focus on PM. And why I do that, so that's why like my streams are also only on PM. Why I do that is I feel like it's more consistent, it's slower, and I can use more data. So I'm using like Asia, I'm using London, I'm using New York AM, so I can utilize that for my edge in New York PM. And I do like tight stops. I do like kind of like scalping basis type of thing. So when like for instance, like for NQ, that's like kind of what I trade mostly now. AM sometimes like so volatile where like I don't like getting stopped out. I don't like getting hit out by like one random candle or like a big candle, and I like doing tight stops. So like when I have something going, let's say for New York AM, it just takes me out in one candle, that doesn't feel right with me. For PM, that doesn't happen unless like Trump says a tweet or something like that, or Powell says something. Like that doesn't happen for 99% of the case. It's like more consistent in that way. So that's what I've been sticking with, and it's been showing kind of the best results these last this year compared to the last 4, I would say.
That's awesome. So you mentioned you like to scalp the trades. So are you, what time frame is would you say is your sweet spot?
Yeah, so I kind of use like all time frames basically. Like the daily, the 4 hours, like my higher time frame, and then like the hourly, the 15 minutes, like kind of what I call the intraday, kind of my what I use to base everything. And then where I execute is mostly on the 1 minute, but also on the 5. So I just use time frame alignment when kind of everything checks out. It works well to me. So like if I'm like bullish here on like higher time frame intraday, I'm just kind of waiting for the lower time frame for my execution to really kind of follow suit before I enter the trade. Usually I'm just waiting for that perfect moment really, because I don't have to be right about the whole move. I just need to be right about the time like I'm in the trade, which is that like I think on average like it's like 20 minutes time span. So like I'm pretty like a low time frame type of trader.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to chat. One of the things that's been an adjustment for me the last couple of weeks, Brian, is I only usually trade about the first 2 hours of the New York session, so about 9:30 to 11:30, and I've usually structured my day, and especially when I was in the education side of things, around like that time is sacred for me. It's like that time is. I need to be trading because that's mainly how I pay my bills with doing the show. And I'm still watching and, you know, make some trade. But like, I feel like I've come off that a little bit. So actually, I'm just starting to learn to trade a little bit in the PM session. So I'm looking forward to checking out your content there. I'm definitely going to be paying attention, and because that's something that's probably going to become a bigger part of my career moving forward.
So as we, you know, we're about 5 minutes from the open here. So if we can pull up, Brian, I don't know if you have your charts ready here. I want to see, I want the chat to, you know, see what we're going over today. So walk us through what you're looking at and how you're going to trade today.
Yeah, so this is what I'm cooking with. I kind of have NQ on the right, ES on the left, and up here is like all my time frames. So like this is the weekly. I just kind of flip through them, make sure like I know what I'm looking at. I don't like having them all spread out. I kind of like look at them one at a time. So like this is my weekly. We just filled the weekly FPG already now. It's in a weird spot. We've just been filling all these gaps. And I believe last night, I was trading a little bit last night with my guys, and we had like NVIDIA earnings just pushing us higher. And then something about like, I think Trump tariffs getting like knocked off or something like that was very bullish. And it was just big spike. This is like, so you don't really see this in Asia. Huge, like this is like 400 or 500 points here. Nuts. And I'm just like flipping the time frame, just make sure like are we expecting the bullish side or the bearish side on the higher time frames, and just kind of working my way down from top to bottom all the way to the lower time frame, which is kind of where I'm mainly looking at to really jump into a trade. So this is what I'm just like flipping through. And I think, yeah, for 3 minutes here, we're about to open New York Open here.
Before we get going here, Brian, because I know we're going to get lost in a lot of analysis, and I'm really looking forward to that. But before we start here, let everyone know where they can find you.
I think my handle is Brian Stonk, or the Brian Stonk, THE, everywhere. So it should be like on Twitter, on in YouTube, everywhere. If you just search my name, I think it's a unique name, is my alias. My last name is not actually Stonk. Some people think that. It's like, what a coincidence, but yeah, you can find me anywhere there.
I mean, it is funny, but at the same time, I can think of, I'm not going to name them right now, but I can think of 3 names off the top of my head of either traders or trading educators, and I use air quotes for that, who have legally changed their names to something that pops a little more. I can't just go by an alias, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I thank you for clearing that up, though. I just assumed that you know, 23 years ago, Mr. and Mrs. Stonk, you know, gave birth to little Brian here. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you clearing that up.
I do want to say to everyone here as well, I love what you have at the top of your charts written out: restraint, discipline, fearless. Why did you pick those specific words? Like, and do you always have that on your charts?
Yeah, so I kind of like, you know, I'm trading every single day. I'm on the charts, and I feel like discipline is like the big thing for me, because one of my bad habits in my years of trading early on, especially and like during, is just not being disciplined, not being restrained enough to like basically wait for it to happen. So like that's why I'm doing that mindset is like less is more. So, you know, before I was just basically taking like 10 trades plus a day. Now I'm just hovering around, like it could be 1, it could be 0, it could be like 1 to 2 basically on average. So we're trying to just go for quality, just tone down the amount of trades. And that's what I'm trying to look. Every time I see the chart, I'm just looking at quality trades only, restraint, discipline, and just that's reminding myself. I should have that posted up on the wall somewhere, so I can keep on like reminding myself, like, don't slip up. And we're just trying to be disciplined here.
I love that. I love that so much. And we're about a minute here until the opening bell. So, and I guess, you know, you trade primarily, you said the ICT method, fair value gaps. I think I see what's on your chart here. So what would you be looking for here if you were a bear or a bull? Yeah,
so I'm just basically looking at the range. So I like looking at like Asia, London, and then I guess now we're trading New York. So like, in this case, I'm going to use Asia and London as my analysis. When I see Asia here, we just did a big run up. London spiked Asia high, so we took that as our high already. And what I'm liking to see right now, like this feels like we're going to try to go for like a PO3, like trying to go for Asia lows and just run it back down. But you know, with NVIDIA just running hot and with the Trump news, it's very, very bullish. So I don't want to be short or bear bias until like I see a lot of confirmation. I think the line in the sand for me is like, this is why I like to look at the 15-minute time frames, my intraday. That's like kind of my bias for my scalping on the lower time frame. If we flip this 15-minute here, like run it back up, close, I'll be pretty much very bullish for higher prices, because that means we respect the left side and then we disrespect the right side. So respect the bullish side, disrespect the bearish side. That means I should be looking up. I should be also bullish. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now for new game.
Okay, we just opened here on the New York session.
Ding,
So
ding, ding.
what would you be looking at on a bearish scenario then? Just breaking that bottom trend right there?
Yeah, so for the bottom one here, I like Asia lows, and we have a lot of areas down here. I'm not really too sure like how to play this. Usually for me, like we're kind of like, if we're looking at this as premium discount, so we have this low here, all this high, we're kind of going back into like discount here. So ideally this could go up, but for me to short this, I typically like to see it just manipulate for me. So let's just come back up, let's say spike it, and then run it back down, and then like I can use this intermediate high as like where I shouldn't see price to come back up. Usually I should let this price action play out more. So I'm like just basically waiting for my setup to come. There should be nothing for me to play here precisely here, just waiting to see what I can really do with it here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's interesting. And you know, it sounds like you also give a lot of like free advice to some new traders. I mean, that's something that, you know, a lot of traders try to, you know, say that they're a profitable trader, but you know, it's in fact they're actually not, and they're charging for these courses and everything. But it sounds like you do give away some like free information as well.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've been trading like everything for so long, and there's like new people, like they're falling for a lot of, like these traps and scams, and just people that are not really trading. Like there's, you know, influencer who trades, like who's trader first, and there's entertainers, or there's just more focus on their business, let's say selling memberships or whatever it is. I don't really like that. That's why I've been going the free route. Just, you know, on YouTube you can see everything I do. Like I'm gonna try today, if I can catch a trade, and just walk you through the whole process, and like everything I share, like I share on all socials, basically my progress. So you can see like my trading from like every week, every month, just my progressions, like whether it's win or loss. That's what I kind of started social media for, just kind of sharing my trading journey, and that helps me be accountable, as well as kind of inspire anyone else who's like following along or starting out as well. So that's the goal from my side.
Awesome.
Boy, whoever in the chat yesterday said, "Are we done with 100-point candles?" Hopefully, hopefully they're paying attention today. This first one is a 100-point candle.
I think it was Leah. Was
possibility.
it Leah in the chat? I think I saw her earlier, but yeah, we really are getting this move down. 100 points right now in the open. So,
Yeah. I think this
is
for me, this for my, like, I always like when I look at this, it gives me FOMO back then. I think now I've been so trained where like there should be nothing for me to take here precisely. It just basically free for all to open. It feels like it's gonna try to make people join in the short, and that's where like the moment it just flips, you're gonna get hurt. So I like to just let this play out and just give me something to work with, which probably is gonna come near 10 a.m. here.
so do you?
I've always heard that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mary.
Oh, I was just going to ask then, is it something that you wait for a certain amount of time before you take a trade? Is it just kind of whatever fits your trading setup, or are you more of like let the markets digest a bit, and then I'll consider a trade? Because no pressure, by the way, today we put your name up on the position. So if you do take a trade, we're definitely going to let everyone know, but no pressure. So
Yes.
No. Brett just posted, Brian, he expects at least 25 trades in the next 30 minutes out of you. So
Brett told me like if I hit a losing trade, I'm not gonna come back. So like I'm like, this was making me nervous, and I need to hit a good one here. And I want to come back.
Yeah, pressure's on, guys. No, but
you know,
is that
Brian,
something
going
you
off
wait
of
for in the beginning? Like, do you wait for the markets to digest a little bit, or does it not kind of matter to you?
Yeah. So for me, I usually don't really trade the open market volatility. I let it play out a little bit. So like it's always like 15 minutes after. It's like 9:30 opens, right? This big volatility usually. I kind of wait like 15 minutes after. So like 9:45-ish is when I start like actually taking trades, even though the setup's there. But besides that, only caveat here, I really focus on price over time. That's like controversial for the ICT community. People value time over everything. I want to focus on price over time, and just make sure that everything in the price lines up first, and then time can come after. And people use macros. I don't really use macros as much. I feel like I'm more focused on hourly closure, 4-hour closure. So it's like the higher time frame when it closed. So I'm not that much of a macro guy. If you guys even know what that is, I feel like that's like more of an ICT thing, like where people only want to place their trade in this, like, I guess 10-minute or 20-minute window every hour, and just wait for that to come.
Yeah, I know Matt here trades looks at the 4-hour. He's more of a, I would say, swing trader, Matt, right? Is that correct?
It depends. My execution sometimes, or the trade you were in yesterday, that ended up being very good for you. That's probably as long as I'm in a lot of trades. I just look at the higher level stuff to determine sort of both trend and a little bit of a bias. Because one of the things that I've had to go through is screening my trades. So if I have on any given day, I'll have 10 to 12 pretty good trade ideas, but I got to get that down to 2 or 3. So by looking at, other consolidation areas in the chart, by developing a little bit of a bias on a 4-hour and occasionally a 1-hour chart, that's how I screen some of those trades. I do want to agree with something Brian said just a minute ago there, and I guess we'll see. I mean, if we break hard below 550, I will retract this statement. But I've always had the opinion that you're never going to go broke assuming the markets are going to do some of the most devious shit that they can do at any given point. We've pulled back hard off these tops over the course of the last few hours, and now again, just 100-point downside candle to start with. I agree with Brian. I think they're trying to sucker in the shorts here, and I think they'll pop this thing at some point. Now again, Am I seeing enough to take a trade off that? No, but I always have a moment-to-moment thesis in the market. So, Brian, when you're looking at things like that, how often do you change sort of your bias or your thesis with what you're watching?
Yeah, so I kind of let the price decide my bias. So that's why I kind of feel like I'm nimble. There's many times like I have people telling me like, you're switching your bias like every 10 minutes. Like sometimes it's just very choppy. I'm like, I'm bullish here, now I'm bearish. Now I'm bullish here, now I'm bearish. And like if I'm like, it's more short term for me than anything. Like I could be bullish for like kind of the week or the day, but like at this very hour, because I kind of only trade 2 hours. There's a lot of things that can happen at 2 hours. So I could be bullish for like, let's say 20 minutes when this target is hit. After the target is hit, I could be looking for lower prices. And I keep on flipping my bias. And I think that helps me like stay on edge and reacting rather than just married to the bias. And that's what hurt me in the past as well. Just sticking to the bias when the chart is not agreeing with it and it's like completely wrong. You're kind of going against the trend.
That's a great point. I mean, I kind of mentioned that too, is like staying agile, and I like the word nimble because that's a really like it speaks to, you're not just going into it with like one idea and that's the only idea that you're gonna go with, and it's good to have a plan, of course, by no means, but being able to say like, hey, this trade kind of changed for me. It's not as appealing to me as it was maybe 30 minutes ago, and I think that's a very accurate way of describing nimbleness. So I appreciate that that you mentioning that. So now as we're kind of moving to the downside here, what is that level that you had mentioned, just to remind everyone else?
Yeah, this is just Asia lows for me. Like this is where basically I use Asia as like a future open, so like 6 p.m. Eastern time all the way to 2. That's kind of like how I have it, and then London is 2 to basically New York open. So I'm basically looking at the low of future open as my draw right now. If I'm basically looking at bearish bias, looking for lower prices as this drawing into, it's just very hard that we just open, we just free fall. So I'm not sure if I could really get an entry here. I usually like, if I'm like, I feel like for me, this is somewhat at discount. So it's hard for me to short a discount. That's why I was hoping to see if we could spike up first, manipulate, just trap people, and then it falls down, gets a setup, and then we can just play it down here. But it's just free falling right now.
Yeah. I'm also I'm looking at this right now because I want to wait for this initial balance to develop here, because as I am biased to the downside. Usually I'm also looking at I kind of mentioned to you guys, when I look at options, I look at this SPX. We had a massive gap up on SPX here. So, for me, I would be looking for a potential hold of the gap that we are entering this previous day high on the NASDAQ as well. So previous day high is being is being tested as we speak right now. So kind of want to see how bulls are gonna respond to this.
Brian, I got a question for you. I've heard some stories about that some weird things happen in the market whenever Brett joins your stream. Can you enlighten us on that?
Yeah, I feel like it's a double-edged sword, because whenever he joins, markets start pumping, and sometimes, not every time I'm like longing. Sometimes it just works so well. He's like, he joins in, he said long as well. It's like a double effect, and it just start pumping within a matter of minutes. And it gives me FOMO in a way too, because it's like, how does this happen every time? Every time he says something like buy here, and then he joins in, he starts pumping. And then there's, out of like 4 times it happened, I feel like I counted. There's only one time I actually just signal botted him in a way, just took his call out for his word. Even though I was like already like bullish buys, I didn't have any entry criteria. I just kind of marketed in with him, and it started working. So I was like, if I just kind of listened to him for all these 4 cases, I would have won probably, I think, all 4 trades. I think maybe one would have been a loss, but yeah, chat could vouch for me here. It's been kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
So we've got a lot of individual stocks hitting daily lows here as the NQ cracks back towards this 5. We are at decision point on the chart here. I think, guys, in any time period that you're looking at, we are at an inflection point here. So as we come into these key areas, Brian, from a technical standpoint, are you waiting for some sort of divergence away, or are you just your signals are your signals? You're taking them no matter where we are on the macro charts?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take them based off of what price is giving me, because I'm already kind of basically limiting my risk very tightly. So if I'm wrong and the trade still validates, I'll just kind of go for the jab. I'm usually 2 losses for me. 2 losses in a row usually takes me out for the day, but usually we don't get to that point for 2 losses. I'm like kind of aiming for that 1 shot, 1 kill type of thing, like base hit mentality. Which is kind of my idea.
Yeah,
it's just free falling.
Oh yeah, we're just
really
like
we're gonna have our 15-minute orb here in a couple minutes.
That's exactly what I was going to mention. We have 3 minutes until the opening range kind of develops here. But I'm watching this potential move to the downside, but I'm not really trusting it so far yet. I don't know. I'm kind of waiting to see how we react to this area here, because I mean we have room, guys. We have room, and I'm not saying that to be a contrarian here, but we have room to the downside, and I'm watching here. So we'll see. So is there something that I know we kind of talked about this a few times, but what would you be looking like? What's an A+ setup to you right now?
I think what I really liked was downside going to the day, just based off like us taking Asia high with London already spiked it, and we're like kind of confirming for downside. We flipped the 15-minute. A+ would have actually almost kind of happened today if we just did like a nice spike and then trap some people here, just fill this gap, rebalance, and then came down with a short setup. It could usually, like, I don't really care about entries for that much. It's all about narrative and draw for me. So 3 things I look at is the draw liquidity, which is like, where am I really targeting? Right now, for me, I'm targeting Asia liquidity lows. And then the other thing is just time frame alignment. Time frame alignment is a lot of the lower time frames is kind of, or in the intraday also, is showing for lower like bearish bias. So when those are aligning, I'm basically just waiting for the entry, which is my 3rd criteria. And I'm not sure if there was any really entry models here, because I do look for retracement or even inversions, but I don't know if there was anything here really ever since that 9:30 open. It just free fall.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those where you kind of just have to wait at this point, and see if there's a setup. There's some sort of reversal. This 5-minute or 15-minute on the NASDAQ has been it's straight, almost. I mean, yeah, over 100 points for sure. So very interesting market that we're in. Matt, what are you looking at, if anything?
Yeah, I'm really waiting for this 15-minute orb to close up here, and we're in, seems to be very bearish that as we're getting ready to close out the opening 15, that we're breaking, New York session lows pretty continuously, right? I mean, we're basically at areas we haven't been now. We're about to give up this entire move basically off of NVIDIA earnings and all of that. which leads me to believe again, this in these cases somebody always knows something, right? Like this is one of those things where the big money does not. I thought initially that news, and you want to be very careful about dissecting news, because as technical traders, we only really care about the reaction to the news, not the news itself. But as I said, and I saw a lot of whispers last night on this this U.S. trade court and all that. It's like this is just going to get overturned at the Supreme Court, so it's really much ado about nothing. As much as there was a hell of a pump right off that news leading into the Asian Open. But yeah, Jose's right. Buy the news, sell the rumors. However, we now kind of are at this inflection point on the 4-hour chart, and we're actually kind of breaking back into this prior zone. So this is an area. I mean, again, it's got to give me a rest candle, or it's got to give me, I can play the reversal or I can play the continuation, but the initial move is still going on, right? So we do now technically have a 15-minute orb break to the downside with the opening of this new candle. But again, we need 2 or 3. I don't want barcode trading like we've seen a lot of over the course of the past few sessions after this initial move. But I'm really looking forward to hopefully an opportunity once this move is done. But I'm not participating in this move because I don't typically trade the immediate open. So for me, I've got to wait for this particular move to either, I got to wait for a rest and either a reversal or a continuation. And we'll go from there. But yeah, in the meantime, we were talking about dojis. I'd love a doji candle right here. I think that would give us maybe some potential opportunities. Honestly though, this is one of those situations where the initial move is completely cooked now. So, as a reformed chaser, a short here would be chasing the move down. However, it sure as shit would be a catching the falling knife to go long. So I've got to see at least a couple of candles, hopefully a couple of rest candles, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that sentiment. Brian, I know, and it's funny, we all kind of like said similar things, even though we all trade very differently. So for me, I kind of share where both of you guys are saying, we're getting this movement to the downside, and it's so hard not to try to chase this, right? Like, 3 years ago me would have been like, oh, I'm totally in this, and I probably would have made money, not gonna lie, because I would have been short from way in the beginning. But over time that doesn't build the best habits. So it's just one of those where you just gotta let the market kind of do its thing and just wait and not try to chase this. Remember guys, we're not thirsty traders here, right? We got to let the markets digest, do its thing, and then go from there. So what were one of those things that you struggled with, Brian, in the early stages of your trading?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what's happening right now. Like, if I were to chase this move, I would get FOMO in. And, like, even if I did win on this trade, I feel like it just breaks a lot of rules and habits. And then the next time it happens, like, where it's like just gapping up or gapping down, I'll try to chase in and I'll just lose a ton of money. I'm like, why didn't it work this time?
Right.
So I think one thing I struggled with, I guess, in the past, and even sometimes now, like, it's just not just sticking to the game plan, just going against it. And like just catching a falling knife or going against the trend when it's like pumping or whatnot. So it looks like it's free falling towards Asia lows right now. But I'm looking at 487, and it looks so good to really target there, but it's very challenging to join in here.
I will be watching this trend line, guys. Sitting at 478. I want to see what we do here. If we just slice through this. Obviously I would love to wait for a retest, but this is kind of where I'm targeting to potentially short. And I know this is, a lot of people would say like, why would you short this after such a big move? But if we're getting the momentum, guys, then this is something that's telling me bulls aren't really in charge here. This is kind of the area that I expect for bulls to hold and potentially get at least some sort of pullback here. We haven't had a single green candle on the 5 minute thus far. So let's see what we get. But this is definitely the area I want to see us hold.
I'm just sitting here going, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase.
Yeah, exactly. Not a single green candle, guys.
Oh, we got Brett in the chat. He's saying, who wants a Stonk special?
Ooh.
Special.
Who wants it, guys?
Brett is now on here, so it should be pumping anytime in the next 2 to 3 minutes usually.
Full port long. I'm just kidding. That's not really a position. I'm just making a joke. I don't want to get a nasty email.
I love it.
We're
Yeah,
about
who
to
wants-
take the Asia lows here. I think that's what
I
kind of
know.
like my draw. There it is. I think there it is.
There it is. We're getting this. We're getting a lot of
This
selling
is just
pressure coming in as well.
unrelenting selling, unrelenting. When you look at the
A lot of
volume
selling.
delta, you don't have to put up my chart here, guys, but the volume delta, we had one kind of like neutral volume delta candle, and so far the other four have been just like huge red. So yeah, it's the sellers are just unrelenting right now.
Yeah, also looking at ES here. ES and NASDAQ are both approaching these trend lines. So this is just going to be what I'm watching, guys. We might bounce up these trend lines and, bulls can kind of take over here. But I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait and
Yeah.
see if we get this break here.
So, Miriam, I believe we are ready for our. There's something about SMART. Is that a acronym that you use there, Brian?
Yeah, that's just kind of like my code and my everything. I just use smart. I didn't want to use like Stonk or my name. I just want to kind of have something. So like smart. That's me, and that's just kind of what I do.
I love it.
All right. So, as I understand it, can our team make sure you put the exact sale in the chat right now? I do not want to screw up but we're about to announce something, guys. So everyone, get your cards ready. Okay, there it is, guys. 40% off everything. Holy shit, that's a lot. 40% off across the board. Code SMART. It is only for 30 minutes, guys. So it will end a little. Let's see, probably at 10:20 Eastern time. You have 30 minutes. Code SMART, SMART. Almost did the Homer Simpson.
This is not a spelling class.
SMART, 40% off across the board. You guys, all of you were asking for something on the Straight to Sim Funded yesterday, guys. This is everything. So, are we getting the Simba pump now? Is that what we got?
Yeah.
It was just waiting for us to announce this giveaway. By
the way, all plans. This is not for resets, guys. This is for plans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're actually in a nice reversal here.
You can get your Straight to Sim Funded. Man, do it, guys.
Yeah, so how? Yeah, we are holding this area. This is kind of the area that I mentioned I wanted us to potentially hold here, and we are getting this nice move on the 5-minute here. So any sort of sentiment change on your end, Brian?
Yeah, so I was basically bearish bias to Asia lows. We kind of sniped those Asia lows by I think like 4 or 5 points on NQ, and this is where I flipped my bias. I'm like, okay, the bearish bias is already like accomplished. Now I'm looking at my charts now. I'm just basically flipping it now. I'm like, if we can reverse from here, I know that's like objective is already taken, and we're getting confirmation somewhat here that I think that we can move higher from here. Now, I do like this. I do like this for higher here. I'm not sure where the target is for upside because it's been such a big free fall. But if anything, I would like a nice retracement. And what I have marked here is like what I just look at is like the last basically down close candles that took the liquidity, the Asia lows. I'm using this as a order block or a chain to delivery, where I'm using that to propel price high since we close above those down close candles. And I was actually trying to see if I can get an entry right here, just on the dot 522. It looks like I just missed it by like a few points here. Let's see if we can get another long entry. I do like longs right now though.
All right. Let's see if we can get into a trade here, guys. I'm still gonna wait. I do like that analysis as well, especially that we've held my trend line. I do want to see us get above yesterday's high as well. So we'll see if we can, pump back up, possibly test the 9 EMA here. And then, if we reject, then obviously we have more room to test this trend line, but we could see a pump back up, and then testing VWAP would be my target. But we are getting a nice move. A lot of buying pressure also coming in here. So I do like this for a potential long as well.
Yeah. It hasn't been giving that many retracement kind of on the way down and on the way up. It's just like been what it looks like a V reversal, and we might not even see any good retracement. I'm looking to see if we can get something here though. See if we can join in.
I know. The chat is waiting for a trade here. They're waiting for us to you see Brett's already. Oh my God, Brett. Yes, I did say longs. Possibly, but
Oh, Brett was also giving me a signal to buy. Like I think it's like a leverage Reddit stock. It's actually it's 8% up today. I'm up pretty good on it. We're up 30% on the or 20% on the stock in total.
Brett is just he's just a fortune teller. He's not no financial advice provided in this.
Yeah, and I think with this market volatility, it's kind of what I would think. Like we're moving really fast, and like I can't really do like very tight stopses. So what I would do is either adapt to the conditions. So like it's moving, like each candle is moving pretty aggressive, like 20-30 points, and that is kind of like my stop. I don't want to get stopped out in one candle. So I would probably just reduce my size a little bit. So if I'm doing like two minis on average, I might do one mini or 5-7 micros, and that's kind of what I'm like looking to kind of jump in for longs now. And what I see here, like NQ is very weak, while ES is stronger. What I tend to do is I would play, if I'm bullish, now that I'm like more bullish, I would actually play the stronger asset. So we'll be looking for longs on ES rather than long to NQ. That's kind of like what I've been playing and my game plan. And then if we were short biased, then that's why I was like really looking very closely on shorts on NQ earlier, because I guess tech has just been down.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, when you're looking at which one to trade, is that kind of how you figure out like, all right, I'm either going to trade NASDAQ today or I'm going to trade ES, or do you kind of just like specifically go towards one or the other?
Yeah, so I'm very nimble. I like to do both. So it just depends on the price action. So I do want to try to get in on ES here at this change day delivery. I'm gonna just get in some micros right now. Yeah, let me see it. Am I able to pull it up? I'm just gonna put the stop to low. It's like I have 4 micros in. I want to see how far we can get it. I'm kind of in this that it could be, taken as a loss, but it is what it is. I just have my hard stop set already. So let's just see what we got here. I'm not sure if we can pull up the charts. Let's see. Oh, I can do this. This is what I have on.
So you're and just so everyone knows, you're going long.
Yeah, so I'm longing here with a stop under the low. I don't really want to see this low get tagged if I'm looking for higher prices. I don't really trade on Tradeify, but I think maybe I should try to log in for the chat here. Can we do that? Let's see. So they can see the screen too. I usually execute on what do you call it? On NinjaTrader. So like I don't really use. Does it show? Oh no. I'm not able to connect both at the same time. Yeah, but yeah, chat knows. I'm looking at this. This is my stop. I'm looking to play this. What was that spike? Was this a spike that was a weird spike on NinjaTrader? I'm not sure what that was.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't show on Tradeify.
What do we think, chat? Long or short on this? Who's in this trade right now? Is anyone taking a trade? I want to know. This is an interesting area that we're in right now, because on my charts we are also, we're rejecting yesterday's high on the NASDAQ. ES is also kind of rejecting the 9 EMA here. So I'm kind of in the middle right now, guys. I'm kind of waiting to see where we end up going. But looks like we're in longs right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to log back in. I think my chart wasn't showing. I was trying to show on my NinjaTrader, but I think I only have the trading view actually showed up. So let me see. Can I show this here? Yeah, I think I'm on micros, so I gotta switch it to micros now. Okay, there we go. I think you guys see it now.
Yeah, there we go. Nice.
Yeah, so I don't really execute on Tradeify at all. I think it's clunky and it's like also laggy. Yeah. I usually just have it on. Before I was able to like just have Tradeify on and then kind of trade on Tradeify. I don't know if they kind of stopped doing that, so that's what I was trying to do now. And this is my stop, so it's like kind of like since I'm more adapting to tighter risk based off of this market volatility, I had to expand my stop. So in normal kind of trading, I would probably do like 3-4 point stop on ES, about 10 to 15 points on NQ. That's very tight to me. This one is a little bit wider, so that's why I went from like my average size of 2 contracts to 2 minis So like in micros, I'm gonna add to this if we do flip this 1 minute here too, because that would be giving me a lot of conviction for high prices. But
all right. Yeah, very, very interesting range that we're in here. When we draw out the first 15 minutes as well, we're still technically in that range too. So we haven't quite broken below or obviously above. We still have a ways to go for above. Let's see what we do here, guys. Let's see what we do. So we got some people still short. I want to know where you guys took a short at. Did you guys chase this into the open? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I wasn't able. I tried my best to see like what can I short on the move down because I was already looking for Asia lows. I just couldn't really get it. It just kept on slamming down with no retracement. I usually wait for a retracement before I can even do anything.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just sitting my entry here.
So I will be watching this trend line for a possible break here, guys, for a short. This is something that I am watching. So just so everyone knows. No, but to your point, though, NASDAQ is looking a lot weaker than ES here. You know, for me, I also look at how futures are in sync with each other. ES definitely got a nice pump on that last previous two 5-minute candles. So we are holding the lows though. So let's see.
Yeah.
It seems to be following the pattern we've seen in the past few sessions, which is we get a big move out of the gate, and then we need to kind of consolidate before we figure out our next move, which is good because it gives us a zone of consolidation for breakouts and breakdowns. Not that those always lead to trades, but they can lead to a short-term bias. But yeah, it's interesting. We do see, I think for the first time, the bulls are putting up a little bit of a fight here at about the 500 to 530 level. Getting towards 540-ish, maybe to 550. Man, it's tough. I would really actually like to flip long at about 545 based on my Renko sort of little hitch and go here. But I don't know. The candlesticks are a little iffy on that. I'd like to have not seen these selling tails on the top of the 850 or 955 and 950 candle, but we'll see. It feels like the sellers are going to have to gear up and really push it down. I wouldn't say I'm feeling extremely bullish, but I don't know. They may have trapped some of the dumb money as shorts, and I think they could pop back to the -1 standard deviation here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right,
Kind of
looks like
approaching 101 here. I just want to see the spike. I think I'm gonna take half just to 101, and then I'm gonna try to get the rest at least this buy side or around this buy side at 46. That'll be like 13 points from where I'm looking at. And this is where I usually move my stop up. I'm not sure how to use this on TradingView actually.
I think you drag the TL to take profit, where it says.
Oh, is this?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is reverse. Oh no. Oh, I almost clicked.
Oh no! Don't reverse it.
I'm really bad at trading. I usually trade on NinjaTrader, so like I'm just doing this for the stream so they can really see it because I don't know if my NinjaTrader was showing.
I think you can control it like on your actual NinjaTrader platform, and it'll reflect on.
Yeah, but I think when I log in on NinjaTrader or Tradeify, it kind of kicks me out on TradingView. I don't know why it does that.
Tough. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, this technical stuff for me. It's not my forte.
So yeah, we just had 4 micros in. We took 2 off at 101. If we hit this break stop, it would basically be break even. But I want to see this target higher. I don't want to put break even yet until we get a kind of closure above this the midpoint of this. I think that would give me somewhat of conviction that we can actually try to hold this area. So this is my 1 minute fair value. If we get a closure or we wicked it, that's not the best sign because I was actually looking for if we could get closure and inverse this, and I think that would give me that spike higher.
500 on deck here in the NQ, which has now broken. Low of New York session here coming in at 485.25.
Yeah, let's see. It's a bit slow now. It was moving really fast earlier, but now it just
that pump up kind of got bulls excited, but I don't know. I'm not seeing the conviction here, but we'll see. Like we're still stuck in the zone. Like I want to see us actually break these lows if there is room for down, for the bears to take over, which we're testing right now. But my entry is not going to be until the probably 469 area. But I want confirmation. Here we go. We are testing that trend line right now.
Yeah, so NQ spiked under. I think this is a good call for me that I took on ES, because if I took on NQ, it would have been like much more aggressive. That's why I do like playing the stronger asset. So it looks like we're about to come down to the low, the internal low on ES where my stop is right now. I took 2 off at 101, so this looks like we're about to spike my stop. So it's going to be like basically a break even that way. Took +6 and then minus 6.
I am short, guys, here. I just took that short entry here at, let me see if I can show it on my charts. Chart settings. Where is it? Orders? Shoot. Oh, you know what? It's on my MNQ because I took 10 MNQ. Let's see. I'm gonna open my MNQ here on this chart.
NASDAQ looked good. Like it looks so aggressive for lower right now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go green to red. I really do. We're at point. We're only up 1/3%. I think we've got about 60 points potentially to the downside.
All right, so I am in at 21,466. How I mentioned to you guys, I have MNQ here on the right, so you can see my position. I'm up about 85 ticks on this. My target on this is going to be yesterday's close. I do want to see this actually move really further down to the downside. So actually my first target is going to be 402. 402. I want a decent move out of this. My stop on this play is going to be the retest of, you know what? I'm going to leave a pretty decent stop on this because I did take a very light position on this. So my stop on this is actually going to be 480. 480. So that's about a 15-point stop. And actually, I'm having the same issue as you. I don't even know how to how to set my stop on this on TradingView, but I can set it on my account here. We are getting this move to the downside. Let's go.
It's really good for you.
Let's go, guys. I'm gonna move my stop. Let's see if I can do it on if it'll show here. Yeah. Let's see. All right, my target is approaching, guys. So let's get this off. I'm gonna take off half my position on this 400 level.
That looks really good. When's the course coming out?
I just took off some on this 415. I know I said 400, but I'm not really trusting this too much. I like the volume coming in though. So I just took off half. I'm in half of a position here. Like I said, I only took 10 micros on this, guys, but we're up a decent amount.
Yeah, and I do like how, like, you know, I'm managed my stop really tight. That was break even for me in total price action, but like if I were to do bigger stops, I'd have probably eaten like significant loss because like this low should be where I close out. And if I didn't do that and I had a wider stop, I would have eaten like 3 times as much than what I did originally, which is good for you because like I got out of my long because it didn't play out for me, and now it's panning out for you because like, that's just what it should be like. We should flip immediately after the bearish, the bullish bias does it play out.
Absolutely, yeah. And I, just for transparency, guys, I'm not sure why my stop's not showing on here. I apologize. I do have it working in the back end, but my stop's sitting at 450. So this will be in profits if we close out of this. But I don't want to see this reversal coming back. So, which is why I'm gonna have it kind of, you know, sitting at this candle right here. But yeah, no, it's a good point, you know, and that's why I like what you said about, you know, staying nimble earlier. We really just gotta see like how the market's gonna digest this. You know, even for us, like going into this, we really didn't have we weren't sure like where to go. We pulled up the polls for today, and you know, people thought we were gonna go up for the day, and we just got this reversal, and it's you never really know until you see how the market's going to react. And that's, I think, what's so important about being a trader is, to your point, staying nimble and knowing when to close out of your position and not just feeling like, oh, the market's going to work out for me because I said it will, right? The market doesn't give a shit about what you think that it's going to do, you know? So you just got to be nimble about this. But I really love what you said. So is there something that you're looking for right now? I know you kind of said that you don't really like to take too many trades, but what's on your list, or what's on your chart right now?
You know, that was a one shot that we could reverse after taking out a draw liquidity, but it did try to do like, you know, a retrace. Then it failed, and we're moving lower. I think we're this area where like I would probably look at the next target if possible. So like I'm looking at the next internal low, let's say for Nasdaq 323, which I think is that yesterday's low as well, if that's the goal. But like it's just kind of like interesting seeing how the range is from yesterday all day for Asia. This is like a 400 or 500 point range, and we're just basically free falling when we were ripping up aggressively. So it's been pretty aggressive in the market. So I think in this case, I like to stay nimble, which kind of means it more specifically like I could play either side as long as the structure plays. Where right now has been pretty much respecting every bearish or disrespecting every bullish P to raise, which is basically every bullish kind of things I'm looking at. So I can't really long this until I see it flip. Everything just keeps on moving aggressively for lower.
Yeah, I agree with Brian. I think we're gonna get into the point very soon where there's not much more value to the downside. Now I say that, and of course we could crack another 200-300 points based on whatever. But yeah, I do think we're getting to that point, especially below 400. If we run below 400 and then maybe pop above 425, I think the value kind of flips to the long side. Doesn't mean that that's a long trade or a long trigger, but it means that's where the value flips. So Miriam killing another trade right now. Brian doing his thing, guys. I know you guys are crushing it, but reminder, 10 minutes left, 40% off with the code SMART, SMART, all caps. And that also directly supports our man Brian Stonk here. So make sure 40% off all accounts, does not include resets, but all accounts across the board. Seriously, I know you guys in there have been talking about, oh man, I'm just waiting for the first sale on the straight to sim funded. Is here. So go get it. You got 10 minutes left. Go get your cards.
Yeah, absolutely,
call your husband,
guys.
Call your wife, telling them you're about to put a couple hundred on the card. Go get it.
If you guys are in this short right now, the 400 level is a good take profit. I just took off a little bit more. So I'm in runners right now. I'm happy to hold this. I'm moving my stop down to 438. So definitely leaving this in runners. If this cracks though, this 400 level cracks, we do have room down to previous day low, to that 320 level. So I'm just going to let these run, guys. But you know, great trade so far. If you guys took this, you know, happy to have helped you like kind of analyze this. But again, don't let a green trade go red, guys. Don't, you know, if you chase this and you're in profits, take your profit. This 400 level was the main target. And that's something else. Like if you guys are in one position or two positions, you really should take off. You know, you should not even be in this trade at all. That's another reason why I like to take multiple positions, is, you know, contract sizes, because I like to kind of leave runners going. You know, if we potentially see these lows, then I like to see that, you know, I have a position on, you know. But again, if you're only in one contract, don't be a dick for a tick. Just take your position off. So
yeah, and that's kind of what I like to also teach my guys, and kind of what I call like risk reward trailing. So like let's say like you're up like 50 points. I like to trail my stop usually at the next internal high. And for instance, like if the next stop high is like 30 points and you're going for like this next target, last target is like 10 points, that's like negative risk reward for me when you're trailing. Because like I would rather close that trade if I'm going for another 10 points while risking another 30 points to trail me out in the green. And that helped me a lot during kind of trading PM and also Asia, just to make sure like I'm perfectly risk managed and right on the right side of like kind of the mathematical point of it.
absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, and we talked about math kind of yesterday, you know, with Rake being our guest here. So is that something that you really look at as kind of like one of your main things? Is math kind of the lens that you look through?
Yeah, so I do look at win rate. I do look at maximum risk. I think the rule of thumb for me, let's say I'm trading, prop firms. I'm trading I like the 150K account. If they give you, I don't know what the trade fund is, like 6K drawdown, right? I like to risk at most 7 to 10% of my drawdown. So let's just go high. Let's go 10%. I shouldn't be risking more than $600 at most per trade. That would give me about 10 net negative losses before I get blown, before I lose account. And that really does happen as a trader, because even if you have like I don't know, 50% win rate and just don't do, like, just having a bad week, you just be like nearly even. You shouldn't be blowing your account. And that's what I kind of practice, what I preach. And we're just managing our risk very tightly. So like I do tight stops, but at the same time, I'm more so looking at my maximum risk exposure in the amount that I'm trying to risk for either my personal account, which is like usually 1 to 3%, or my prop account for my funded, which is around like 10% of my total drawdown.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always good to have, like, be risk adverse when it comes to this, and just know like what your strengths are as a trader. And that's something that you just develop over time. Guys, we do have a psychology coach for our straight to funded traders as well. So if you guys are struggling
for
with your
the live
psychology.
traders, Miriam, for the live traders.
Oh, I'm sorry, our live traders. I don't know. I don't even know what I said. Did I put it? Our live traders, that's something that we have as a resource. So make sure that you guys are taking advantage of that. You're journaling your trades. Brian, would you say that journaling was something that was part of your trading journey as well?
So the only journaling I do is really showcasing. I do journaling more for my guys rather than for myself. So like I do like trade recaps. I share like my progress and my performance. That's like journaling for me. I don't really like kind of do it for myself. I just do it for others, which I guess in itself would just be like more self accountability. So I guess it does do the job. I don't really like have like a journal that I do for myself though, which I just look at the performance. So like if I'm looking at the whole month, I look at all my data. Like I shouldn't be losing more than I'm like winning, and it shouldn't be having like if I'm doing like $1,000 per day, there shouldn't be like a $5,000 or $10,000 loss, because that's something that is wrong with what I did here. It's like probably a fluke or me tilting in a way. So that's what I look at. I look at data. I look at my numbers. So I try to aim for a higher win rate and a slightly higher risk reward. So it's a combo for me. Like I think on average like 1 to 5 risk reward. So like if in terms of NQ points, let's say I'm risking 10 points, on average I can get like 15 points. So like higher risk reward. At the same time, I'm also looking at slightly higher win rate. So I'm looking at like just anything above 50. Usually I'm going for like 60%. And if the math clears out, if I'm tightly risk managed, combined with the win rate and the risk reward, it should show like the math should show like a consistent performance at the end of the month.
Would you say, like, how long do you think it took you to find that consistency?
Yeah, so I think it helped a lot when I was kind of live trading, because I don't want to disappoint the people that's watching me. I don't want to be over trading. I don't want to give a bad trade. So I think I've been like live trading. I live traded on my Discord for a while, but more focusedly on YouTube. This is where there's a lot of eyes on me. I think pressure does. I don't know what they call it, like pressure builds diamond or something like that. That I feel like that resonates with me, because when there's like 500 people or 1,000 people watching, you don't want to give a bad trade, and you're kind of projecting all of your progress to all your viewers and all your basically your viewers watching you. And I feel like that just pushes you to be much more disciplined than anywhere else. So in a way, like I'm helping my viewers by like sharing my trades and teaching as I go for like free, but in the same time they're helping me, because like they're keeping me disciplined, they're keeping me pressure, they're keeping me accountable in a way too.
I'm really glad, Brian, to hear you talk about again, guys. Brian is the third guest we've had this week. They've all been fantastic, but there's common themes now emerging, and this is something that's really important. So you've now seen, well, not even including the hosts here, but you've seen 3 successful traders this week that have talked about math. They've talked about their risk reward. They've talked about keeping journals and things of that nature. I mean, guys, I've talked with literally hundreds of really high level traders over the years. And guys, those are the things that they have in common, right? They're paying attention to the math side of things. I said yesterday that I think every trader should have just a 101 level of understanding probabilities, statistics, standard deviation. Guys, this is stuff you can learn in a few hours on YouTube. But just to understand, we think we just need a candle or a pattern and all that. No, you have to understand the math that goes into the decisions that you're making, and especially your risk reward. I've talked a little bit about my overall trading methodology. I'm sure we will at some point as well. I think you hear that when Miriam's managing trades, she's specifically looking at key areas that fit in with risk reward, et cetera, et cetera. And now there's just another one that has talked about this, guy. So really grasp that understanding. Brian, do you find that that's something that's harder for newer traders to kind of comprehend? Is that like, you don't need to be able, like, we're not doing differential equations or any shit like that in our trading, but we definitely are paying attention to the risk reward ratio, average winners, average losers, things like that. Is that something that the people you've worked with, you found take too well, or they struggle with?
I think they struggle with that because I feel people don't think like even like 1-to-1. Like, let's say if you had 1-to-1 risk reward and just like 55-60% win rate, you're still profitable at the end of the day. But people are really going for like these heavy, big runners, big winners. So like they want to risk like 20 points, they want to make 100 plus, and that's not really realistic unless you're going for that data. But they're not trying to go for like that 20%, 25% win rate to account for that high risk reward. They want both a high risk reward and a high win rate, which is kind of statistically impossible because you have to be like I don't know how that would even be like as a trader, because you're gonna lose, and that should be accepted. And we're going for big like goals like that that's somewhat unrealistic unless you have the data to back it up. I don't know, but for me, I don't ever see that kind of happening. Usually the big traders I see, they either have a high win rate and a kind of a reasonable risk reward and they're profitable, or they have a lower win rate but a high risk reward and they're also profitable. You can't really have both, and I think a lot of newer traders they get lost in confusion with that. They just try to do what I guess core sellers or just anyone influencer who just kind of sell them something that not real traders here just gotta give you like, oh, here's how you can make like $10,000 a day. You just gotta risk $1,000 and then double your money in that kind of like in one trade. So that's not really applicable to real life trading.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like, so I mean, going back to Coach Tank, it sounds like you might have something set up with him, or did you already have
Yeah.
your session with
Is
him?
that, yeah, I'm not sure what is it, Coach Stank? Is that what we call it? I have him
Yeah, Coach Tank.
tomorrow, I think. So I'm excited for that. I think I did like a questionnaire that basically before the interview is like saying like what's my I guess what am I good at and then what I'm like struggling at. I haven't really thought about too much because I've been like trading daily. I haven't thought about like what I'm struggling with. So like that kind of gave me like an eye opener too in a way, because like I do struggle in a way. Like sometimes one thing I would kind of speak on is like greed does help me. Like my strongest asset is discipline, but at the same time, my weakest asset is something that contradicts it, which is kind of greed, because you can't really be disciplined while also being greed. But I feel like it contradicts, but it does happen because I do break my discipline when I see someone trying to when I see someone like do big days. I'm like on Twitter or something like that, and I'm like, maybe I want to go for a big day like that. Every time I do that and it's like try to go for like a big target or like risk more when I'm not shouldn't be, it makes me like mentally stressed, and that doesn't that kind of throws me off edge. And like maybe I should have already got stopped on this trade, but like since I'm in bigger size, I'm like, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this, and I just move my stop, and that's when it spirals. And like what happened? I just I agreed to only losing, let's say $500 per trade. We just lost like 2,000. Like what did I do here? So I really want to see what the coach like here. I heard good feedback from Brett and other people about it, about how he's helping the live trader. So hopefully that does. I'll give feedback to the chat too and let you guys know how that goes. And I think that's going to be very helpful because I never really had it. You don't really have that as a trader, kind of like a trader on your own. You're kind of on your own. So like this is a good resource to really have someone to talk to, maybe work on your weaker side, and also like confirm your stronger asset.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take some questions for Brian here in a minute, but so I know you're gonna be meeting Coach Tank pretty soon. Let's show the chat what he looks like. Miriam and I had the opportunity to meet him in Miami. That's a dapper looking motherfucker.
Look at that guy.
That is
He's dressed nice.
And when you throw in that nice soft British accent he's got, man, like he can make anything sound like sophisticated as hell. Right? Like he could be describing a garbage dump and he's going to make it sound like paradise. It's amazing. But no, and actually we were able to talk with him a little during our photo shoot, Miriam. And boy, the guys worked with, like, we use the term professional traders. It gets tossed around a lot. He's worked with people that manage billions and billions of dollars. And for him to come in and be a part of the Tradeify team to work with our live traders. And we wanted to have him on the show this week, but his schedule's already booked up because all the traders are jumping on board with him. He's going to start doing group sessions. He is a high level guy. I know there's been people say, oh, he only works with the live traders. Yeah, because he's going to take you, it's really on you to go from being an inexperienced trader to getting some experience and having some success. But a guy like Coach Tank and watching this show every day can take you from having some success to a lot of success, right? So make sure you make it to a live trading here at Tradeify, and you can use that. And Brian, we're definitely going to have you back on the show at some point. I want to hear your conversation with Coach Tank and how that went.
Yeah.
Because I'm really excited for the traders to be that high level of coaching, guys. You're usually paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and you're going to be able to get that as part of your live trader here in the Tradeify family.
That's a good resource to have too, and I'm really excited for it. And I'm glad to hopefully be back. Like I told Brett told me, like, if I lose, I can't come back. But in this case, like, we were winning, but then hit break even, so like technically didn't really lose. So maybe I have a shot back.
Well, I mean, Brett is the CEO, but I feel like if we all bully him, we can make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't stay in the chat long enough when that pump was coming in. So,
Yeah.
Fortunately,
So
he wasn't.
Our sale is over now, guys, but I want to see in the chat, give me a W. Who took advantage of that 40% off accounts across the board? That was big. We don't know these guys. Like, they tell us a few minutes before, like, the sales. And I saw that. I asked for clarification. I'm like, y'all are serious on this, right? So yeah, we're doing something here. Look how we got some W's coming. That's great. So
That's awesome.
Let's
That's
go,
awesome.
chat. I'm always like kind of like frugal with anything. Like I feel like I could be doing so well with trading, but like I like to wait for discounts. Like I wait for Black Friday to buy like a monitor or anything like that. And it could be like right now, like I'm also waiting for some stuff to add on. I had lightings, like, so just recently, I look like I'm in a basement. We just added lighting. That's like one of the things I needed, like more immediate, but there's other things I would want to add on. I'm waiting for kind of like another good sale. So like at the same time, for prop firms, you want to just wait for the good prices, because like, sometimes you need a count, sure, but like when you really have a good sale going, like Memorial Day or even this flash sale, these are time to like really load up. And that's good. I feel like it's a good habit to even have.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is one of our biggest sales too, that we don't usually do 40%. I mean, 40% is a pretty decent chunk off. So make sure the next time we have something like this, wink wink, which who knows, maybe it'll be soon again, you are in chat and you are able to take advantage of it, because we are not announcing this anywhere else. This is only specific to everyone who is interacting with us, who is live with us on air at this very specific moment. So make sure you guys are in chat tomorrow as well.
So I see in the chat too, Brett has said, Stonk, I got something coming to you in the mail as well. You told him where you live?
He kind of threatened me. He's like, if you don't give me your address, I'm gonna do something bad. I'm like, okay, he's a CEO now. He's not an influencer anymore. So I feel like the threat is actually something.
Dang.
Okay, all right.
All right, Simba. I mean, if you have something to say, by the way, you can jump in at any time.
Oh, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. We are getting this move back up to retest this original trend line that I was in, and obviously you guys know I'm no longer in this position. I got out. I actually stopped out at the 438 mark where I had my stop here, but we are retesting this trend line. It is interesting because we are in confluence with the 9 EMA here on the NASDAQ. So this is a potential area of rejection as well that I would look at. Obviously I'm not going to take this trade, trade, but I would like to see us actually pump back up above this area. So this area is going to be the 473, 475 level on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, you guys don't have to put up my chart, but I will say I'm desperate for a move up to about 510, so a break and a rejection of the 500 level, because that comes right at the -1 standard deviation band. So for me, kind of my rules, because I missed this initial move down, I can't go long here, even if I see a really juicy long signal. I still feel like we want to go green to red today. But I would like to see at least a test of the 500 to 510 level, because that's right at -1 standard deviation off of VWAP. I want to see that, and I will be looking for a short at that point.
Absolutely. Are you looking at anything here, Brian? I know we talk about being nimble. So
Yeah.
what's your sentiment here now?
I want to play upside now because I think I'm looking at like this 15-minute gap. If we're bearish, we'd probably flip this and go for lower. I want to see if this is possible. And what I like to see is, like, even though I'm bearish as a low time frame scalper, I could also see another move happening. So, like, you know, if the whole day is ending red, I can also catch a bullish move as long as, like, it's in the right area, it's tightly managed, and with confirmation. So right now, what I like to see is, like, this breaker is basically previous up close candle. We swept the low, and then we're closing above it. I'm using this previous up close candle, these 3 up close candles here, as my breaker to really propel higher. If it does want to retrace back in, my stop would be under the open of this breaker here, which is the up close candle, and I'll be looking for a retrace higher, whether it's like higher for, like, you know, high of day, or just a simple retrace back from lower. So it could easily, if it's bearish, it could still, like, move up or lower, and that'll still be like my scalp. I'll probably take my TP and, like, let it trail. I'm still seeking if we can get something like this here though. And I think NQ is, like, a little bit stronger now. It's been moving. Tech is, like, switching up. It was very strong downside, but now it's, like, leading in a way for the reversal back up.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in a critical area here, guys. So I would definitely wait for confirmation if you guys are looking to enter a trade. But we are getting some movement back.
Brett says he's at your back door right now there, Stonks. He's like a vampire. Don't invite him in.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. All right. Well, we are getting this move up here. Volume is kind of pushing here as well. Let's see if Brian takes another trade here. No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, I'm really seeing we get here.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, let's see any questions in the chat for me, guys. I think there were. I don't know if I was reading it. I think we were asking. We were talking. Was there any here?
Yeah, if you guys. I mean, I mentioned this to you guys earlier, but if you have any questions for Brian, this is your time.
Usually, like, when I'm, like, live trading, I also kind of communicate with my chat, see, like, you know, are you guys bullish or you guys bearish? Do you guys like this trade? And then sometimes they convince me, like, this is not it, and I look at it, I'm like, maybe this is actually not a good trade.
Oh man,
I'm like, you know what, guys, you guys like this long here? Like, if this does come out, like, if we do confirm, do we want to play upside? And, you know, some people just, like, go with whatever I say. And there's other people that's kind of critically thinking. They're like, this is actually a bad area because of this, X, Y, Z. And then maybe I look at him like, wait, you're actually right. This is, like, more risky than I thought.
We do have a question from Brett in the chat there, Brian. It says, sum up ICT in 3 sentences.
Sum up ICT. It's I can trade. 3 sentences or 3 words. I was thinking 3 words. Sentences. I think you're just looking at time. You're looking at price, and you're looking at, like, so price is just, like, basically price action. Time frame alignment, you're looking at all the time frames as well as time macros, and then entry. Basically, you're looking at a lot of ICT concepts. You're looking at breakers, fair value gap inversions, and chain state delivery, everything like that. Basically, kind of, like, for me to sum it up. And it's been pretty aggressive downside. So what I like to look at when, like, we're kind of, like, anticipating a reversal where it's been very aggressive, I like to see if we can actually come back down and then basically look at the lower time. It could be something I like kind of show on my stream where we could drop down to a lower time frame, even like 30 seconds, or just say the 1 minute if it does confirm. We could be looking at longs here, stop under, or we can also just look at a flip. So we could do like a starter here already if we want, but I would rather look for a flip first. So basically, if I'm looking at it on the left and right side, the left side is coming down, and if I add here, you're just letting it play down. But if I add on the right side, if I think it does flip up, I'm waiting to really join in on the right side of the trend if it does turn, rather than try to catch, like, let's say a knife. And that's kind of what a protocol I like to do when it's like counter trading in a way.
Javier asks, do you use the golden pocket strategy with the ICT?
Golden pocket strategy, I'm pretty sure is the same thing as like optimal trade entry. You're kind of looking at premium discount. So when you're looking at dealing range, it could be on the higher time frame or just immediate. Equilibrium is on the 50%. And then if you're looking for, let's say, buys, or if you're bullish, you would want it to drop below equilibrium before you join in, and then vice versa. If you're bullish or if you're bearish, you're looking at it to come on the bearish side, and then or on the premium before you get in. So very simple case there.
Golden pocket sounds like something you got to pay extra for in Amsterdam. I'm just saying it's a little, the terminology there throws me a bit. Brian, when you say you prefer PM trading, what time is that for you?
Yeah, so I kind of dodge lunchtime, so like that noon time I kind of stay away from. I trade 1 to 3 p.m. That's kind of, I stay away from power hour first, because when I'm trading power, I look at my stats. It's quite crazy in volatility. Also, like, sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. It's not consistent, and so I'm really focused on just 1 to 3. So I'm showing up 2 hours a day, nothing more, nothing less. And then we're just looking for one trade on that day. If it comes, it comes. Sometimes it's 2 if it allows it. And that's what we're working with. Just 1 to 3. We do that on YouTube, and we try to live stream it and try to get everyone going. Focus on trading first, but we're trying to also be entertained, like we're doing here. This is a fun show right now.
Yeah. So with 2 hours and maybe one trade. So do you sing do you dance? Do you do some other stuff on the stream?
I just go with what chat tells me. Sometimes chat tells me that they've been, I have a treadmill in the back. I have a standing desk. My girlfriend uses it, but they've been telling me, like, if we get a good trade, they want me to see me running on the treadmill. Like, while the trade runs, I run. And we haven't had since I put my face cam on, I think like basically 4 or 5 streams so far. I'm waiting for a good trade for me to actually start running on the treadmill. So I think that's what we're working with.
Yeah,
whatever happens.
I trade a lot, so my fat ass doesn't have to get on a treadmill.
I love it. Are there any sort of things, speaking of, are there any sort of things that you do, like, outside of trading that kind of helps prime you for your trading session?
Yeah. I've been trying to get back to the gym. I feel like when I've been so locked in trading, like when I was in university, I had like a very good meal prep schedule, and then like working out and everything like that. I'm getting back to that's very inconsistent when I'm trading, because I'm just juggling a lot of things. That's kind of my main thing. And then just really trying to allocate time away from the charts. So like that's why I'm trying to like do less on my screen time and more for like just hanging out, just basically stuff that's not trading related. It helps me not get burned out and fried mentally. That helps a lot for me.
Yeah, that's something.
I don't think people talk about the mental burnout in this business enough, and I've seen a lot of traders over the years. And you guys, I'm kind of like past about 3 times in my career. I know you guys are probably going through 1 or 2, in your time frame as well. Yeah, it's tough, and there are times you just need to get away for a day or 2, and it might not even be because you're on a cold streak. It's just there's times. This has been a mentally exhausting year for traders. Because of all the outside influences and headlines and et cetera, et cetera. It's something that it's unique to everybody. So I could ask you guys how you deal with them, but I think it's something, honestly, especially once you start having success as a trader, make sure you're enjoying that success. Take a trip, do some things like that. Do whatever you need to do, and monitor your mental health at any given point. I've said many times, I think one of the coolest things that's come out of kind of just basic culture society over the past 10, 15 years is that it's no longer like taboo to talk about mental health, especially among us dudes, right? And so to make sure you understand where you are mentally when you sit down to trade is just so vital.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see one question here from RM asks, actually a question for all three of us, but Brian, I'm going to have you answer this first. What's the best advice to stay patient when waiting for a certain setup while the market is making decent moves?
I think you're looking at like a different perspective for me. Like, you know, I'm trading a lot of prop firms. I'm copy trading. And like, for me, when I'm thinking about going for base hits, like waiting for that one trade, I'm just thinking like, would I rather take like 10 trades and then like deal with all the wins and losses and just go through the hassle, or rather wait for like kind of like an A setup or a B plus setup and just take that instead? And usually it might come out to the same math, like monetary value there. And like, I look at the outcome of it. So at the end of the month, like, am I trading right? Am I performing right? And I look at even my cash count, my live count, my prop count, everything. Like, how am I doing? And usually there's only like 1 month where I could be like, let's say red. Every other month is very, very positive and good. Sometimes like exceptional, other times just like slightly. So I think to me, I'm just looking at like, you know, you're kind of taking accountability for yourself. Like, you don't want to be reckless trading, breaking a lot of habits. This is like you versus you. You're not trading for other people. You're trading for yourself. And when I think of that way, like, I shouldn't be pressing buttons when I shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off that, like, the market will always do something, right? It doesn't mean that it's your trade to take. So, you know, patience, when we talk about patience, it's not just like about waiting, it's about that discipline. And you got to like zoom out in a way and ask yourself, like, am I building a career here, or, you know, am I just trying to feel busy? And so, you know, this sort of mentality, I think, kind of forces you out of that FOMO. It forces you out of that, like, you know, what do you call yourself, Matt? Chasing, what is it?
A reform chaser.
A reform chaser. That's right. So, you know, you gotta look at like, does this fit my setup? I mean, kind of something to go back to, like, even for me, I told you guys in the beginning, if we go back to my charts, like this trade right here, when you look at this move, right, you look at this massive move that we had, Drew, real quick, if you can go to my charts, or I mean, just in general, right? Like, we had this massive move to the downside, and I even mentioned like three-year-old me, you know, 3 years ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I probably would have shorted right here and then had this pop up and then freaked out, right? But for me, I told you guys, like, this trend line, this fits my strategy, whether it comes to this point or not. Like, I'm not worried about it. So, you know, I executed on this trade and I took my win and I was out. You know, this could potentially dump for another 100 points. I'm not going to chase it because it doesn't fit my plan, and I already, you know, made my trade for the day. But it's something to consider of, like, you know, you have to stay patient. You have to wait for your setup to really, you know, show itself to you. We're not in the market to chase after something that, you know, just looks promising. This is a career that you build over time, if you're really interested in doing that. So
I do want to just jump in here real quick. Sorry to cut you off there, Miriam, but we just had a comment in the chat from McLovin. Says, I'm having heart issues and suicidal thoughts from trading. I'm going to take that comment seriously, and I'm assuming it's not like an off-color joke or anything. But if that's the case, man, I'm dead ass serious here. You need to stop for a little while. You know, I'm usual disclaimer, not a financial advisor, all that kind of stuff, but you really need to stop trading for a while if it's getting that bad. Like I said, I'm, you know, a big believer in kind of monitoring your mental health and what's going on day to day, let alone week to week, moment to moment, etc. If it's that bad, if you're struggling that bad, you need to remove that stressor in the short term. And if what you're telling me is true with it, please go see a professional. We are us in this chat. We're very qualified to help you with some trading psychology issues. None of us is trained in honest to goodness psychology. So please, if you're being serious with that, please call somebody, please reach out to somebody, please go talk to somebody. This is hard enough when you're 100% right in, what's going on up here. If there's anything going on physically, mentally, whatever, you got to step away. So please, if you're being serious with that, please seek out somebody to talk to, and feel free to hop in this stream every single day and just let us know you're okay. All right, moving on.
So one question here, Brian, what time frame do you use to know what PD arrays are getting respected or disrespected that would allow you to switch your bias? I'm not sure what PD arrays are, and I don't know.
So basically PD arrays are just premium discount arrays. I use that for all time frames. So for a good example, I think what he's asking specifically is how I'm using my bias to really flip basically what I'm looking at. So right now, you see the left side, 15-minute gap respected. Also above 15-minute fair value gap here, also respected. So like this is a bearish side because we're filling this, rebalancing and moving lower. We're filling this and moving back higher. Very simple on the 15-minute. This is kind of I use a lot. If we can really, instead of retrace higher for lower, because that's what's trending right now, if we just move up, close above, that makes me think we go far higher, and I go for the next gap. And this would be the large gap that happened in New York Open. And I'm already kind of looking for upside. That's why I'm like using time frame alignment here. This is a 15-minute time frame. I go down to the 1 minute, and how I'm looking at it is like, are we respecting off this breaker here? Or like we formed this breaker to confirm a flip, and I'm just looking like, if we come back in and retrace, do we respect this? And so far we are respecting this. It just kind of like barcoding or just like consolidating in a way, I guess. Right now we're just waiting to see the real move. So with that time frame line right now, I want to see this move higher because we already swept this low. We filled this 15-minute rebalance all the way. So I'm playing this this long to see if we can go higher from there. And I've been just wait, let me see. I don't think we put it in. I have it in my industry trader. It's the same. It's in the entry box. Let me just pull it up.
And while you get that, it looks like we got some of our competitors in here. Damn, our show is really that good. Our show is really that good. We got some competitors in here. I love it. I love to see it.
It's micros. Yeah, I'm trading micros because I'm also like, the show feels high production, so I'm like a little bit nervous in a way. So like I don't want to, mess up in front of a lot of people. Even like it's not that much, but like let me just do this here. I have my stop trust under the breaker. Kind of like, if you guys know how I trade breakers, this is where you should put your stop in. I think we just kind of killed off all my analysis here. Because I switched from NQ to micros.
I had to do the same thing earlier. I was like, why are my trades not showing up?
Yeah, so what I'm looking at right now is basically, do we inverse this? We do the inverse first, and then why I look for more so, I'm a breakers guy. What breakers is we have this low here. I'm just gonna try to explain this real quick. We have this low here, we have this high, we have this lower low, and then we close above this previous up close candle right here. And at the moment we retrace, I'm looking at the previous up close candle as a propeller. If it does come back inside, usually inside of a fair value gap, I want to see this move higher. And what I'm looking at on the higher time frame, the 15-minute time frame, if we can flip this, the next 15-minute time frame close is at 11. If we can close right above it, that'd be like amazing. And then it gives it a lot of conviction for higher. And how I do play this breaker, again, you try to enter near the top of the breaker inside of an area of interest, and you put your stop under the breaker, and you're looking for the next draw, which I feel like the next draw is like at this high as well as this high at 560. I don't know if we can really get that high, but I'd be very ambitious.
Anything canon will happen in the trading world. That's kind of what I've learned.
Yeah, it looks like we may get this test up here of the 500 area. I'd really be. Where's your target on this trade, Brian?
Yeah, so I look at the next internal high for the most part when I'm scalping. So the next internal high is at 533. It's like a big target right now. I think I like to also look at risk reward in a way. So like if I'm risking, let's say like I didn't realize how big this is because I'm looking at it playing the price action sell, but this is like a 40-point stop at the breaker low. I'm looking at this last candle close instead. So like we can start peeling off bare minimum when we get 1-to-1. I look to like go around like 1.5. So like I like to go for the next internal high, but I can also look at where I could see that we could be rejecting. So you can see like some of these use this as an order block even. if we do come back up here, I'm gonna start trying to peel off here, and then we're gonna see if we can hold a runner all the way back up to these highs.
While we're waiting for that, guys, we've just been informed because Brett is so much enjoying this segment with Stock here. We are going to do a giveaway if we can get to 500 likes.
Nice.
So we need 500 likes on the stream, and we are going to pop a giveaway, guys. I don't know what yet, but obviously Brett's feeling pretty generous today, especially with that sale. So my goodness, guys, let's get those likes up.
I gotta know, Brian, what you have in that drink.
So I have water on one side, and then I have liquid IV. I've been starting to work out a little bit more again.
Water, hydro, homies.
Electrolyte, try to hydrate and stuff. It just
I like
water
it.
mixed with that. I was getting ready for the show. I heard you guys talk about matcha. My girlfriend loves matcha. I know I bought her a set, I bought everything for her. And I don't like how she goes out to spend stuff. Like it's like $6-7 for a little latte. When I'm like, you can just make it yourself. And I just started figuring out recently, I think the other day, just like figuring out all these types of grade. There's ceremonial, and then there's like there's a few other types. So I'm trying to learn more about it. And like I usually am indifferent about it, like neutral about matcha, but like it's actually good, or it tastes good, and like I think there's some health benefits. So I might be also being a believer in matcha. It's been trending everywhere lately.
You guys heard it here. I mean, we got Brian Stonk talking about matcha. See, I told you guys, you just have to give it a chance. I've been getting a lot of shit on the stream because a lot of people say it tastes like grass, and Matt has his cat here to try to confirm.
It's the first time she's wandered within grabbing range. You know, she wanders the basement while I'm down here, and this is the first time she's wandered to within range. US is asking, this is Minnie. Minnie's 20.
Aww.
And she's dealing with some brain issues. So unfortunately, we're dealing with some things with Minnie. But yeah, I bring her down here because her brother picks on her if they're left alone. So, and when I say picks on, I mean he tries to hump her, even though he's been neutered. But yeah, that's a whole thing. We don't need to get into that on the stream.
No, I love that. I love that. So you like matcha then, Brian, because you said you bought it. I mean, you're trying to get into it, and you know.
Yeah.
I think it's good
it's
for you.
It's expensive a little way too, because I like the she likes the I guess the quality one.
Yeah.
So it does get expensive. I think there's like you get like a small package for like $40 or something like that. It's the highest grade, and it's like shipped from Japan and everything.
Yep.
Is it Japan? I think.
I think I get mine. I actually get mine off Amazon, but they have a website. It's called Naoki Matcha, and it's ceremonial blend. I might actually pop
I think that's
it
the
in
one we got
right here if you guys want to get it.
On Amazon, I think too. We need a referral link for Tradeify.
You guys are wasting money, man. I just empty out my lawnmower every day, and I just dump that in some water, and that's it right there.
That's right.
I think that's the exact one that we got. I think we're trying a few out. There's some we bought on Amazon. There's some we bought on websites that people recommend, and we're basically doing blind taste tests. Like, is this actually better quality? Does this taste better for the value? There's some that's like just $20 for like a package. There's some that's like $60 for like the same size. And it's like, is there a difference for like 3 times the price? Yeah, so I want to see.
Try any other kind, but this is my favorite. So
yeah, there's a Costco brand that I tried. I was like, it's just like very like average, and then you try that Amazon the Noki's, that was called. There's a big difference. You can really tell.
Absolutely. And I just saw I saw Trays with Jess. You had asked that question. I put in the link there, but we need to get you on the stream, Trays with Jess. We need to get you on the stream. So let us know when you are free. All right. So we are moving to the upside here. You're still in your position from what I see.
It was consolidating. Now we're trying to push higher. I'm trying to peel off here. I'm gonna save some, see if we can run it to the internal high. But yeah, for AM's like volatile is kind of big. PM I like to do very tight stops. This is more than I like to do. I kind of go based off of price action, not like stop. So I just adapt my size to it. So like a 40-point stop, this is running like I think 50 plus right now. I want to see if we can peel the last one out at the next internal high. That'll be amazing. That would be a highlight for me, or for the Tradeify stream.
Yeah, Brett will definitely be bringing you back on. That's for sure.
Yeah, like I'm glad that I was able to catch a winner, because I was scared if if I was break even, I wasn't sure what's gonna happen. He told me a lot of bad things would happen if I had a loss. But like, what happens if I hit break even?
Dang. Yeah, he said, "You lucky stonk."
Oh man.
I love
So
it.
are we where are we at on the likes, guys? Are we getting close here?
We're getting close.
Need
Looks
those
like we're
500
about-
likes, guys. We got some giveaways coming.
I know you guys want
So
those
we're
giveaways.
400.
We gave out a lot of giveaways on our first stream, so you definitely don't want to miss any of these streams moving forward because we will be giving away at least something. So get those up, I think.
Yeah, I do see some viewers from my side. They were talking about like the breaker before. I haven't mentioned it earlier. Hopefully, you guys, if you guys are learning from me, you're trading with me every day already. This should be a textbook setup for, basically, from me, without me even saying it. You gotta be taking it already. If you know how I trade. Chat, who's in here with me on this breaker trade for the ICT traders out here?
Who's in it with Brian? Give it up for Brian, guys.
And in 5 minutes here, we get the 11 a.m. close. What I like to look at on the 15-minute time frame, which is my intraday bias here. If we can get close, stay above this 485 area, which is that previous 15-minute fair value gap. We close above. Any retrace back inside, I'm gonna use this as kind of a support, like an area for bulls to bounce in, and then we're gonna try to really see if we can pop back up to like 558. I think that'll be the objective today.
Nice.
Oh,
And
look at
remind
chat.
everyone, you're trading on the East Coast, is that right?
East Coast. I'm in Florida. Yeah, that's East Coast. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you're in Florida. Simba could
Yeah.
pop up at your place at any given moment.
That's why I'm scared. Like he's about
probably
it.
driving there right now.
Knocking on your door.
Yo.
No, I love it. I love to see. I hope this goes and blasts up for you. I mean, you do have that. Do you trade like I don't know. I don't know much about like fair value gap or how that works. But what are you looking at specifically? Like, are you looking for it to fill the rest of that initial downside move? I mean, we kind of are right now. We're trying to, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I basically use like lower time. I'm on the 1 minute right now. The lower time frame I use basically look at like kind of liquidity targets. Where I'm targeting usually it's like relative equal highs or the previous internal high. This is the previous internal high here, and I'll look at very tight gaps here. So like you see this 1 minute gap here. I like to see if we're trying to be bullish, we flip this. This is a bearish fair value gap turned to a bullish inversion. So in theory, this gap, if we're really bearish, we should be looking to retrace and then coming back down. We didn't do that. We actually just went straight through that. So like I'm starting to look like, okay, we might be looking for upside. And then I'm looking at the 15-minute here. At the same time, you see this large gap. I'm using this more so as a draw target. So at the same time, I'm doing both. I'm using it for my bias. So like if it closes above, I'm bullish. At the same time, this is the first target. So if I'm looking at like just area of interest, like big boxes here, this here down here was support resistance. Like let's just say it like that, very simple. Now this is going to be support now because if we close above in like 3 minutes, I think we should be closing above. This would be support, and this here would be resistance. So like I'm basically looking at holding my longs down here through this area for support or resistance out, and we're trying to play higher, and that'll be like kind of like how I trade and my style with it.
Nice. Okay.
All right, so I think it is time, guys, for us to. Could somebody on our team refresh me? What exactly are we giving away here? We are running a giveaway, and I will give you the what to put in the chat momentarily. Sorry, guys, I'm scrolling back through. I think I missed what we're giving away. If somebody wants to drop that in for us, but yeah, it is time. Oh, one of each account, 50K size. So advance to start. So put Stonk. STONK in the chat to enter, and our bot is going to pick the winners here momentarily. Again, Stonk STONK in the chat to enter. One of each account, 50K size. We're starting with the advanced.
I'm gonna enter too, just in case. I want to be a winner.
All right, we're going to give you guys about 30 more seconds to get those stonks in the chat, and then we're going to We're gonna have the YouTube bot pick what we're doing here. Yeah, nice rally off the bottoms here. I'll be honest, guys. I was looking for. We've now popped above the plus or the -1 standard deviation band, so a short trade is dead for me at this point. I was actually eyeing up a short trade at about 475. We're too far away. That idea is dead. But I love these. I told you I was looking for a move and a rejection of the -1 standard deviation, but we have moved to, and we have, at least as of now, confirmed a break of that to the upside, because we are now above the SD band here. So I would need to see a pretty strong reversal to go short here. But yeah, it feels like things are flipping a little bit. It feels like the selling may be done. It's going to be really interesting to see where we go for the rest of the day. All right, guys, I think we're going to have to close out the stonk. So we will get you the winner momentarily. We got a little bot that goes in there and picks everyone or the winners off of who put the stonk in the chat. So I'm just gonna say stonk a lot because it's fun to say.
It's fun to say. Definitely fun to say.
I might be changing my last name to it if it's like, if I get bigger.
Oh, don't be that guy.
Trademark it.
Don't be that guy. I'm kidding. Do whatever the hell you want. You successful trading, you can do whatever the hell you want. How about like a nice back piece, like stonk, like across, like in about about 7-8 inch layers or letters. You just like a big back piece with stonk, and then maybe Brett's face.
I was thinking like a tramp stamp sort of situation. I mean, that's out, right? No one does that anymore, I hope.
Is looking good for this rally up here. I think for me also, like, I'm bullish now, very clearly bullish. The where I get more neutral is, if we hit this area here, then I'll be like, the bullish objective is starting to be accomplished, and anywhere here I could be flipping again, either neutral or looking to flip. Most likely neutral, because we've just been bullish buys. We already took a lot of liquidity, so like I wouldn't be just shorting blindly here. I'll just be long towards it, and then you based off of price action, you could either let it reject and then look for longs back in for higher, or you just let this play back up here, and then you can come back down. I have a lot of arrows, but that's kind of like how I trade. I just like to anticipate, like to frame everything up, and then I work on if then statements. Like if it does this, then I know what to do. So that's kind of what I'm trying to showcase right now.
So our first winner is Timotheos. I don't know how I'm Timotheos. So we need you to type something in the chat to let us know you are here, and we also need you to put your email address in the description of your YouTube channel. Everyone's got a YouTube channel if you got a YouTube username, so make sure your email address is on your account and on your description, so that we can reach out to you and give you a code to claim your prize. All right, so the next winner of a 50K account here is SR. So we need you to go ahead and type in the chat. I think we're still waiting for Timo. No more stonks, guys. Cancel the stonk.
They love stonk.
Stonks are done for now. But we need Timotheos and we need SR to type in the chat. So make sure you guys, SR, there you go. So we have SR. He has claimed his, or he or she, excuse me. And we need...
I see Timotheos in there too.
There too. Great. All right. Great. Congratulations to you two.
Congrats,
I think,
guys.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Awesome. Nice. I love it.
Congrats.
I've been a part of account giveaways for a little while at various places, and I always want, and I'm going to issue this challenge to you guys. I want somebody who wins an account here to turn that into 6 figures, in payouts. Seriously, I want somebody to do that. I'd offer a reward, but if you've done that, you're good anyway, right? But I really, I want to see somebody message us in 6 months, be like, hey, first week you guys were on the air, I want an account. I just took my 10th payout from a live account, etc. Yeah, that's all right, Miriam. We got one more winner there. If you want to.
Yep. Next winner. This is a winner of the 50K straight to funded. The winner is Emiliano D. Please type in chat so we know you are here. Emiliano D.
And tell us what the D stands for. Keep it PG.
I love it. Emiliano, there you are. I see
There he
you.
is.
Congratulations. You won a 50K straight to funded account.
Oh, direct funded. That's a big one.
That is a huge one. That is a massive one. All right. Is that all for giveaways, guys? Or are we doing more? I think that was it.
Congrats.
All right. So, guys, any final questions here for Brian Stonk?
Let's hear it, guys.
Let's toss those out. We only got 26 minutes left in the stream here.
Yeah, while we're waiting for that, I'm basically like, I like to trail my stop. I think I should have, if I was paying attention, I should have trailed it at the next previous higher or previous low already. Just so like, I don't really mind if I don't hit the full target, because again, this is like kind of risk reward. So like, this is a good example. Let's say when we're like at this area here, and I'm supposed to trail it, let's say that previous low. I'm only having like a 14 per target, so this is a negative risk reward for me if I were to hit my trailing, because I'm only going for another 14 points. So in this case, I would just have to kill that trade there, unless I'm looking for this next target. Then this is applicable here, but I'm only setting here. So like, that's why I tell my guys, like, if you're trailing or stopping, you gotta make sure like what you are like actually targeting. Because if you're trying to risk another 25 points in your profit just to make like 16, that's not really favorable for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we do have a couple of questions. I'll just fire them off to you here, Brian. Brian, do you ever look at higher time frame breaker blocks as your target?
Yeah, that rarely happens. Higher time frame, I'm looking at like a 4 hour and the daily. Rarely happens, but like, let's say it does. I mean, I could draw right now. This is probably a breaker block here, because how I'll mark it out is low, high, sweep of this low, which is manipulation, and then we close through it. Now we're retracing back inside. I anticipate this to move higher. But here's the thing with me though, like, let me just make it more visible. If I'm using this as my breaker block, this is like a 300-point breaker block. I don't know how I could really use this when I'm scalping. If I'm like swing trading, this is applicable. Like sometimes I do this, especially on my Robinhood, when I'm holding for like 300-400 points move. If I see something like here, I would likely look for longs right here in this gap. This would be a unicorn trade, stop under and go for the next target. But this is not something I would be taking as scalps, because it'd be it's such a big stop, and this could happen. Kind of impossible to really scalp this, because it'll take days for it to actually hit, most likely, or the next few days. But for most part, to answer that, not really on the higher time frame, but on the lower time frame, intraday, 15-minute time frame works a lot. I could even use this as a breaker block here too, but it's a very tiny one. Not really. The way that we use breakers is like when we have basically significant swing points. This is a swing point here. This is a swing point here. Swing point here. We don't really have much. How I look at breakers, I don't look at these consolidation as swing points at all. I think that's where people get lost in translation there too. Like if you were trying to do every high and low that's consolidating as a swing point, it gets very messy. I rather use kind of the general swing points as my analysis here. But I think I'm just gonna close out this here. We're kind of like starting to respect more of the downside, and it's also like negative risk order what I'm talking about. So I think we kind of entered off at 46 on the breakers here. Near the top of the breaker, stop was under, and we got, I think, like 50 points. It peaked like actually high, like 522. That was like 60 points, but you know, you can never time the top. And if I was paying attention, like this is why I do on the stream all the time. If I'm targeting, let's say this previous high, 533, we hit 522. This is 10 points away from this target here. I should have already closed a trade, because you would never do this. You go for 12 points to risk 28 points. That's like very dumb. That's what I've learned over the years by trading too.
Not unless you're hitting at about 95%.
Yeah.
So here's the question for you. What is the biggest change you made or rule you implemented that helped you become consistently profitable? Good question, RM.
Yeah, so rule is, I guess it kind of complements two things. You know, very tight risk management. Like if I were to risk like $1,000 here, $500 here, it gets very fickle. But if I try to have a rule of thumb that I want to risk, let's say like, you know, the percentage I go by is because like I can have a large account, I can have different risks. But let's go with funded. If I've the traditional is like 4,500 drawdown on a 150K account. Tradeify, trade fund, you have 6,000. But let's go with 4,500. Like that's like more common. Risking $450, 10% of your drawdown helps a lot. When you think of the math, that's literally 10 trays net negative. With an end of day trailing, it might be like 8 or 9, but it's still like very difficult for you to blow the account if you're kind of risking $400 per trade with 4,500 drawdown, because you don't look at, I have a 150K account. You have a simulated 150K account with $4,500 drawdown. So that's what you're working with, the 4,500 drawdown here. And then when you know that that's the math here, you pair that up with like going with basis mentality. This is where it complements it. You're kind of going for like, if I'm risking $400, I'm usually trying to make like 1.5 hour. So like the math goes like $600. Risk 400, make 600. And then you have like, for me, I have a slightly higher win rate, about 50. So like at the end of the month, it's just gonna be like it go spike up, then down, spike up, down. If I'm like win loss, win loss. And at the end of the month, we're gonna be green. If you trust your model, trust your discipline, don't tilt, don't do anything that strays from your trading model. It'll end up green as long as there's some months that could turn red. Like I think for September, fun fact, September for me has always been a month where I kind of have like a hard time trading, because I think September is historically very, very bearish bias. And I don't look at bias. I don't look at historical bias. I just look at trading. I look at price action. And when it's still bearish bias for just historical reason, I don't know what it is. I might have like a red month that month, but every other month, I'm like, just trust the process, trust the trading journey, and trust the risk management. It'll come out green.
Fire.
Right.
I love that.
Great. Sounds great.
Yeah, we have a few more questions here, and we have about 20 minutes until we're done here. But I do want to get to this one, and I like this one. Actually, I think we might have already answered that. So how do you manage? How would you say like Tradeify would be different than different prop firms that you've experienced?
Yeah. I think Tradeify is a unique way here. Other than like, instant payouts, which is great. Very few firms actually have instant payouts, so you don't have to even worry about that. Other firms, like very big firms I know that trade with, it takes like 2 days, 3 days, to get the money, even to approve. So like, you get to approve it first. It takes like a day or two, and then to hit your bank, it takes another few days. So in total, like you should get your money instantly. And like for me, I think every time I request a payout for Tradeify, it's been like 5 minutes on average. So besides that, that's unique for Tradeify itself. The unique thing I like about Tradeify, I think, is the variety. So growth is very value based. Advance, I don't really like advance that much because it's unrealized trailing. Growth is good, and then straight to funded. Straight to funded is like I think the kicker for me. I love straight to funded because for me, I don't like trading evals. There's no risk in the game. That's why it might not work for you guys, but for the people in the chat too, I don't like trading very consistently, or like work on it evals slowly and try to pass it. I like to do that for funded. I don't want to waste my mental capital to work on an eval where it doesn't really bring me any monetary value except passing it. So what I do for evals, I just basically trade the same way I do funded, but with increased risk, increased size. So if I'm like risking like, let's say 10% of my funded, I'm kind of like doing like 3 to 4 times that on the eval, which is for me, that works for me. But it's like, if you can't handle that, then it doesn't work. So I try to pass the evals in a few days. And then my funded, I like to go very, very slow with my funded. That's why I have my performance. It just goes up slowly, like slow trend line. So like, I don't mind making like a few $100, $300. While other people are like going for big days, I believe, I'm a self-believer in base hits builder account. I do that for my live account too. So I think I shared my Robinhood. It's a slow trend line up as well. Like, so if you compare like my cash out to my funded, it has the same trend line. It does have like small pullbacks, but it just trends up very, very slow. It doesn't do like a big spike then drop, big spike then drop. It just goes up slowly.
That's awesome. You guys heard it here. I mean, the payout game is strong. Brett, I don't know if you're listening in the background, but you heard it. So I love to hear that. Any more questions that we have for Brian here while we still have him? We're about less than 2 hours into the market here, and we're kind of just, we're staying in underneath this 50% retracement. If you are a Fibonacci retracement trader, we are kind of like, we retrace back to that 50% mark of that initial downside move, and we're kind of like, just chopping around here. So if you guys have any more questions, please put them in the chat.
Let's see them, guys. Someone said straight fund is expensive. I honestly, I think it's worth the value. I think I want to read this out because, you have instant funding, instant payout. You basically start off, I think it was at $500 for like 6K of drawdown. You're basically giving like 10 times what you're paid for. And you're treating like that, like 6,000 a lot of work with. And the first time you hit a payout, I think for a 150K account, you like 3K. Is that 3K for the 150K? That's like 6x your return investment, as long as you can just hit like that profit target, which like kind of similar to eval, just 1-to-1 or 2-to-1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those where, futures can be something where if you struggle with, blowing up accounts, it's going to cost you a lot less rather than, trying to fund your own account. And that's something, that again, if you struggle with that, it's something that you should probably consider. But one of the things too that I want to know is, are you a bull or a bear? Because I know that you said you try to stay nimble and you try not to have such a market bias, but I gotta know, I mean, what your biggest plays have been from what, going long or going short?
Oh, you know what? Let me see today. I think I was long here, and then I was long. You know what? And today I'm a bull, I guess. But there's a habit of me I really dislike. Market always goes up, and sometimes I'm not able to get a good long entry, so I just pivot to like, maybe let's find a short, and like we're just pushing all time high. I'm like, I'm looking for a short entry at all time high. That's like so dangerous for me, and like that's something I've been working on, and especially like for swing trading, especially like, why am I shorting all time high like this? Because I can't find a long entry. So like, I guess like if I were to like say like, am I bullish or am I bull or bear? Like, I hate to be a bear, but like I feel like I'm leaning slightly towards a bear when we move. But when I'm trading though, when I'm trading like scalping, it's like there's no difference. Like I go both sides.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know what, Matt? I'm sorry to tell you, but you're the only bull here, man.
That's all right.
Bears tend to win. I'm telling you, they take the window and the moves are quicker. So
yeah, look at a year-over-year stock market chart and tell me the Bears win.
He has the advantage.
My long term, I will say, my long term is very happy, but
but I want to kind of put a little bit, since we're winding down the next 14 minutes here. I kind of want to put a bow on a little bit of this, and I want to circle back just to the account talk. And guys, if you're in your first year of trading, in all honesty, don't overly sweat like the various accounts, right? Like, I know we're talking about the advanced accounts, and, we ran that really good sale on those a little while ago. Those are perfect for newer traders, right? If you're a newer trader, you want to, you're probably going to fail your first couple evals. That's just a welcome to trading kind of moment, right? So it makes sense to be getting into things that are a little more forgiving, maybe a little less cost. The straight to funded, the straight to those are excellent. And I think if you are an experienced trader, that's a great route to go. But guys, all of this, and I hear too many people talking about the prop firm meta, or this, learn how to trade. Okay. If you don't know what you're doing in your risk reward, if you're just buying because you think it's going to go up, selling, it doesn't matter what account you have. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter if your account costs $30 or $3,000. If you don't know how to trade, yeah, you may get lucky from time to time. But if you're passing 1 out of 10 evals, you don't know how to trade yet, and that's okay. We all had to learn. I lost a lot of my personal money when I first started trading because companies like Tradeify weren't around. I have no doubt I would have blown 10, 15, 20 evals when I first started, just because of how stubborn I was. But don't, if you're having some success, then yeah, you should look at a little closer at account rules and cost and all that to see what works best for you. And for a trader like Brian, yeah, the straight to funded sounds and looks great because he has that experience and that ability to be consistently profitable. But guys, not that you shouldn't. Hey, listen, money is money. I don't care if it's $30 or $300 for the accounts. You know, it's hard-earned money that you guys have worked hard for. But don't overly sweat all these little details in this. Sweat that your ability to trade, your risk reward, your trading methodology. Figure those out, guys, and honestly, the rest will come. So I never discourage people from weighing what the best account is for them, but I always like to give a little guidepost with that. If you're brand new, guys, start with one of the quick, simple, advanced accounts and just see what you can do there, and celebrate the little milestones along the way, like passing your first eval, getting your first payout. But remember, you're trying to turn this account into a paycheck, right? And yeah, it's great when you can do a ton of withdrawals, but like people always ask me, hey, how often should I withdraw? I said, man, start it off by treating it like a paycheck. If you can take some out every couple of weeks, do that, and then you see it becomes a career, and it becomes something you take a little more seriously. But yeah, really want to encourage you guys to just have that mindset.
Yeah.
Well said, Matt. Well said.
That was good. I also lost a lot of money when I was trading personal, because like profit was a thing, and like I feel like everyone start off losing a lot of money. For me, I something I talk about on my stream sometimes. This is like more of a exclusive. I trade penny stocks the first start, and I got very, very lucky on the first entry or first trade. It was like a stock called Genius. I think I put like 20,000 on it, like my whole savings. It was like so risky, but like I doubled it. And then like I tried to trade, like, you know, and I was like, this is me playing like degenerate style, because I didn't know that I thought this was trading. Everyone's like playing penny stock. And then when I tried to trade the real markets, that's when I was like losing my profits I made luckily. Basically like 60%, 70% of it just all the way slowly down, trickle down. And I wish there was prop firms back then, because you know when you're starting out trading, you're not gonna do good at all the first year. Like really trading, you need like experience, and whether you do paper trading, demo trading for practice, or use like real money, I think a good hybrid is just like the funded, because you're kind of putting in like a few $100 just to make just to like try to make more, but like at the same time that's your max risk. So instead of losing tens of thousands of dollars, you're just kind of risking that few $100 that of evaluation, which does help. And then to add to that, like also like these prop firm rules are not really kind of limiting you. I feel like in a way, like if you look at different perspective, it does help me. Even this consistent rule, it does help me with my base hits. I'm not always looking for home runs. If there was no consistent rule, I might be going for big days. But I've been so trained, so I've been training prop firms for like I think 3 years now, that like, you know, I don't mind the consistent rule. I'll just go like within like reason. So I risk a certain amount. I also try to make a certain amount. And sometimes that profit could be large, because like it could be a banger day and like there's a runner running. And you know, I think to end that off, like that statement, I like to say, like, you know, you adapt to your conditions. So like if it's a prop firm, if you think it's like against you, you just gotta like change your perspective and adapt to it. Make it work for you and work with you. And that would really, I think that would really support your trading journey.
Absolutely. Wow. Give it up for Brian, guys. Always in the chat for Brian, dropping the knowledge and the heat. Brian, it was amazing having you on the show today. We really appreciate you. We'll definitely be bringing you back on.
I won the trade, so like Brett can't.
There you go.
Brett's actually just outside that door behind you right now. We better cut the camera so that there's no evidence.
I love it. I love it. Thank you again for your time today. We appreciate you. I know that chat loved you. We'll definitely be having you on again. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate being on here. And like, I don't know if you guys want to see more of me. I also trade PM, so like we'll see me there like later today. We'll keep it running.
And again, you look for Brian Stonk or the Brian Stonk across all social media platforms, especially YouTube. That's where where he streams in the afternoon. So make this show part of your daily routine, and then make Brian part of your daily routine when it's all said and done. Brian, I'm definitely going to be checking out your stream in the next day or two.
Go join the Brian Stonk gang. Let's go, guys.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks, Brian, for being here. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks. All right.
Well, Miriam, this was what an outstanding 3 of 4 guests so far. We've got tomorrow's guest got a lot to live up to, but I'm pretty confident he's going to do it.
Oh yeah. And speaking of tomorrow's guest, let's throw it up on the charts here. We have tomorrow is Friday. We have Freaky Friday. We have Big Gains Club joining us tomorrow as well. So it's going to be me. It's going to be Matt. It's going to be Big Gains Club. again, dropping the heat and the knowledge. So make sure you guys have your questions ready and show up 8:30 Eastern time.
And guys, if you've missed any of these conversations, this has been, honestly, I've done this for quite some time. I've interviewed a lot of traders, a lot of trading psychologists, a lot of personalities throughout the trading world. These have been three of the best interviews I've ever done. And so I really encourage you, if you missed any part of Rips, Rake, Brian Stonk, go back and watch again. Just jump to the beginning of the stream, and then jump in. It's about 45 minutes or so to when they come on, and make sure you take in that knowledge, guys. This is the core of learning trading, right? And I know everyone wants to mock, trading rooms or courses and all that. Honestly, that's how I learned. I'm not saying every piece of education I purchased was worth what I paid for it, but some was, and some got me there. But guys, there is nothing as valuable as seeing somebody that has walked the path you want to walk and asking them questions. So that's why we always encourage questions. You guys have had 3 great days of questions, but don't be afraid to ask questions in here or in any webinar or anything you attend. Closed mouths don't get fed. Unasked questions don't get answered. But this is what you need to do: is listen to people like Brian, listen to people like Rips, listen to people like Rakes, listen to people like Big Gains Tomorrow, who have been down this path. They've walked the exact same path that you're trying to walk. Now, that doesn't mean every aspect of every one of their journeys is going to relate directly to you. But I found that it was when I started, studying the journeys of 10 traders, a dozen traders, 20 traders, whatever. That's how I learned. And now it's like a buffet. You take a piece here, you take a piece there of what people have learned, of their styles, of their strategies. Again, and like I said yesterday, guys, you're never going to be Brian Stonk. You're not going to be me. You're not going to be Miriam. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. You need to play to your strengths and weaknesses. Trust me, I'm not bullshit when I say I want everyone in this chat to eventually have more success in trading than I've had. And I've had a pretty good amount of success, and I've enjoyed every step of the way. So make sure you're taking all this in. You have to do the work in trading. You can't, if you're, yes, at this stage in my career, I could show up, work 2 or 3 hours a day, and make a really, really nice living. I happen to be a social guy. If you haven't figured it out, I enjoy doing this program. But Miriam, you've got to put in the work early on in your career, and that includes watching interviews, reading books, things like that. There's a lot out there that's high cost, but there's a lot out there like this show that are completely free to you. All you need is an internet connection. So yeah, definitely check that out. Boy, it's been great so far this week with the guests, Miriam.
Wow, yeah, it's been awesome. And to your point too, I mean, I've never talked to a series of traders that just have so much to give out. I mean, so much free knowledge. This is a free show that we provide to you guys every single morning once the market is open, right? And this is just the beginning of it, right? We have guests coming on, we have giveaways, we have so much stuff packed in for you, and we go over our market sentiment and what we're looking for daily. So you guys have that as a resource. Definitely take advantage of it. Not to mention, of course, and I keep talking about this, but in Tradeify, straight to funded users do have access to the coach psychologist Tank, our coach Tank. So there's so much out there that you guys can utilize. This is definitely not anything that I had access to when I was first starting to trade. So utilize it. Take this seriously if this is something that you want to turn into a second income stream or your main income stream. It is something that you have to treat as a business. So if you want it hard enough, you have to work hard for it. So definitely was an amazing stream today. We appreciate every single one of you guys. Don't forget to like and share this stream with anyone that anyone that you think might gain value from this. And obviously, give us feedback as well. If we, if there's something else that you want to hear about, if there's something that, you want to hear from us more frequently, we're going to drop our Twitter symbols here. Let's see. Mine is the Curly Trader, and Matt will drop his as well. But, like I said, this is something that we want to make sure is of value to you guys daily. And we are also going to be starting to put up the leaderboard for our live traders, our top live traders, so you guys can see who's doing what on a daily basis. So I'm going to put my Twitter handle here. But Matt, it's been a great episode. We're going to have Nick back on next week. Of course, we still have tomorrow, which is Freaky Friday. So don't miss out, guys. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button and get notified.
It's not Full Port Friday. Have we not decided on this yet?
I don't know. Brett's the one that needs to decide if it's going to be full port Friday, but
Right. Well, we'll
not
talk to
for
him in
me.
a few minutes. So yeah, guys, I want to just thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate your likes and your subscribe. And again, follow us on social for updates on the show. And I usually do a 1 to 2 minute thing on the front porch. Front porch Matt comes out here usually about an hour, and so you can get that on. I do that just directly on Twitter. So thanks again, guys, for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. Miriam, take us out.
As always, guys, make sure you tell someone that you love them today. Make sure you are grateful and you show gratitude for areas of your life. Trading is not just about making money. It is living a life of freedom and happiness. So make sure that you are practicing that on a daily basis, and make sure you drink your matcha because it's good for you, even though it might not taste so great. So we love you guys. We will see you on here tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 in the morning. We will see you then. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, guys.